Hey, family. You want to see something you've never seen on Bluecentric Live? You want to see something? Let me put the comments up. What's up, my loves? You want to see something you've never seen on Bluecentric Live? Look at this. Look at this. A stress pimple. What is this? What is this? What is this? I'm sorry. I love you. For the amount of money that y'all know how much money I spend on skincare. Give me a second. Okay. That's shall we name it? Y'all ain't shit. What? Blue Crew ain't shit. Hey, shout out to the Blue Crew. Hi, my name is Blue Toulousma. Either welcome to the new folks or welcome back to our family. This is another edition of Bluecentric Live. So much has happened in the last 27 minutes. So let's unpack that first, right? Because I feel like life is always lifing. Not Terry the Pimple. Y'all want to name my pimple after my landlord's son who bullied me into moving out? Actually, that kind of makes sense. Look at this, y'all. I'm wearing makeup. But still, you see why they say makeup is not the response to good skincare? Nothing can replace good skincare. Yeah, let's debrief. I feel like there's always something going on. I tell people all the time, please don't ask me how have you been. Because I'm autistic and I will answer you honestly. Yeah, so let's talk about, actually, let's go beyond the last 27 minutes. No, should we? No, let's go to yesterday. Yesterday, you guys got a small glimpse into me redoing my living room. All you saw was a dark wall and a ladder, right? Very ominous, right? What y'all didn't see is that I was paying a very expensive painter to clear up the mistake. Not F you, Terry. I should get that on a shirt. No, the people actually is 100% his fault. That's actually not hyperbole. So what y'all didn't see was, let me breathe. This is going to be therapeutic. For those of you who are new here, this is how this always works. Hi, my name is Blue Toulousma. I'm a writer, a producer, a spiritualist, and an emotional intelligence coach. I use pop culture and politics to be a launch pad to talk about ego death and spiritual growth and personal growth. And I'm also a very colorful bitch. Maybe that's why they started calling me Blue back when I was like 18, right? For those who don't know, Blue is not my government name. Everybody just started calling me Blue when I was 18. Should that be on the list of stories that I say for the membership? Yeah, you know what? For members only, because I feel like you guys are keeping a list of all the stories I can't say in front of Gen Pop. Yes, you are Gen Pop if you are not a member. If you want to become a member, please hit the join membership button and subscribe in general because we're kind of awesome. But yeah, remind me guys to tell you the story of why everybody when I was like 19 just randomly started calling me Blue. Blue was not even my favorite color. Didn't even like the color blue. Everybody started calling me Blue and I had to be talked into accepting it. I think it's weird when you pick out your own nickname. I would have never picked out my own nickname. Okay. In fact, funny thing is, my favorite color up until 2016 was orange. Burnt orange is my favorite color. Well, it was until Trump. Now I don't. Anyways, so Monday, I move in 2 weeks before the month is over because my thought is this week before Christmas, I can get a lot done before I go to Boston to check on my mom, which means I can actually do my real move right after Christmas, knowing that I've painted, I've prepped the walls, I've measured. There's a bunch of prep that I like to do with an empty house because when your house is full of furniture, you're constantly thinking about how to move the fucking furniture, right? Triple Virgo, I think ahead, right? So there's going to be 3 moves for those of you who are new here. Did you have blue hair? No. You guys, you don't understand. I'm going to tell a story to the membership live. Y'all can't do a Q&A when it's a members only thing. Please become a member. We're trying to get 1,000 members by Christmas. Ooh, that's like next week. Miracles can happen. So me being the OCD queen that I am, the neurodivergent baddie that I like to be, I knew that I did not want to be the bitch who's living out of a suitcase for 2 months after moving because everything's in boxes, right? So I went to move all of my toiletries, all of my skincare, all of my panties. You don't know how many times I've moved someplace and couldn't find my drawers, right? And so anything that I knew that I would need immediately, that didn't need a moving company, I moved and put where it belonged so I wouldn't have to suffer A lot of you suffer when you move all at once because all your shit is in boxes, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I want to paint. I hire a painter from, okay, this is about to sound racist. Fuck. Now I gotta figure out, because it's not the members only area. I'm not racist, but I recognize the internet's always looking for the ism, right? And not autism. I'm talking about racism. I went to Home Depot. So you already know where this is going. Viva la asa. I went to Home Depot to buy some paint because I knew that I wanted to paint my walls a custom shade of black that I love. I won't say their name unless I do like a brand deal with them, because I'd be giving out free game for all the time. There's a custom shade of black that I love that looks gorgeous in every home that I've ever been in. I wanted to have my bookshelves sanded and painted the exact custom shade of black so that when I do my sexy living room, it all is just one beautiful thing, right? And this is a little cheat code for the decor girls, because y'all don't know this, but I'm obsessed with decor. My makeup artist is constantly asking me to help her decorate shit. When you paint your walls and a big piece of furniture the same color, no matter how big the furniture is, it almost feels like it disappears and the room is bigger, right? The room gets bigger when the wall and that big statement piece are the same color. You see the vision. Thank you. All my home decor girlies, I'm considering doing some home decor videos because I have now frosted my windows so you can't see outside my windows and stalk me. We talked about that yesterday in yesterday's live about if you are a content creator, please stop showing people outside of your fucking windows. Please stop. That is dangerous. Okay. So, I'm thinking, okay, well, Blue, you're going to have Maya. Her name is Maya. She works in production. Maybe that's why her and I get along, because when you work in production and on sets and in that kind of high pressure environment, you don't have the luxury of making excuses, right? So I've been using Maya to paint my homes for a couple of years now. I hit up Maya. I pick out the color that I love. Everybody knows I love this color. And I'm walking out of Home Depot, and this short, tanned man, who I think is, I say Mexican. Mexican is not racist. This Mexican man approaches me at Home Depot. Let's keep it a fucking stack. Okay. If a Mexican painter approaches you at Home Depot while you're buying paint, your first thought is, oh, I'm about to get a really great deal. Can we be honest, right? If there's any Mexican watchers in here, I love y'all. Shout yourselves out. And please confirm that I'm not being problematic. This is just what happens at Home Depot. Home Depot was my job working through college. So I worked at Home Depot my entire freshman year of college. So I'm not like, yeah, they approach you. They'd be like, oh, hey, can I help you? Here's my card. I paint. What do you need? It's the usual. Okay. I'm so used to this. So I'm thinking, somebody said, I found these cool Soundwave painted photos of Outkast songs signed by Outkast. Ooh, I love that. I love when people pick up a centerpiece and then they build a room around it. Anyway, so I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute. This man is going to give me a great deal because this fucking house, 3 bedrooms and 3.5 bathrooms. First of all, having more bathrooms than bedrooms is insane to me, but it comes in hand. So I'm thinking, bitch, you have just got a house that is not cheap. If the man wants to save you a couple $100 on paint, let him do that. Now, this is where racial profiling in the positive sense can bite you in the ass. I have never in my life, mind you, I worked at Home Depot in college. Again, I want to repeat. So I was not just there as a bystander. I was an employee. I have never in my life hired a worker from outside of Home Depot and not had it work out. It's never happened. In fact, I'm always like, oh my God, you're so talented. I'm going to give you more than you're asking for. Me racially profiling him, if a Mexican man approaches you at Home Depot watching you pull out 3 really expensive gallons of paint, he must be good at his job to have that level of audacity. That's how where I was raised in my day and time. If you were approached, that meant that they knew what the fuck they were doing, right? So I say, sure. He texts me. He's like, Miss Blue, I wanna paint your house. When can I come over? Now I'm thinking to myself, God damn it. I had just hired this really acclaimed painter off of Task Rabbit who had like 5 stars, thousands of ratings. Everybody's like, oh my God, he is the Jesus of paint. So I'm like, I already have the Jesus of paint coming to my house, charging me $90 an hour plus tip. Y'all do the math. Yeah? This man might charge me $90 for the whole fucking job. Guess what I did? I called him. Yeah, I did. I called the man. I said, hey, can you come over tomorrow and save me a couple $100? He says, yes, Miss Blue, I'm gonna come and I'm gonna do a good job for you. Mind you, what made me signal that he might be good at his job was when my Uber came, he took all my bags and loaded the SUV for me. And I was like, okay, I like a motherfucker who has initiative. Yes, guys, $90 an hour. Did you not hear me say the Jesus of paint? Okay. This man might as well just be on the Hall of Fame of paint on TaskRabbit. Because I read reviews. And I watched his paint. The man drawing angles and shit. It's like Leonardo da Vinci. I almost said Leonardo DiCaprio. Y'all know I'm bad with names. Leonardo da Vinci is the right Leonardo. So I'm excited that I'm not gonna have to pay $90 fucking an hour because I'm already in this house that costs double my mortgage in Boston. So the next day comes. And he's 15 minutes early. Not plot twist, same guy. Can you imagine? He's 15 minutes early. I'm very excited because that means you're punctual, you have initiative. This is going to be popping. All of a sudden, an even shorter man pops out from behind him. First of all, why are you standing like Russian dolls? If you're 5 feet, please don't have somebody who's 4'9" right behind you pop out. Like, so my first reaction was like, what's happening, right? This is a gated community. Is this a setup? Y'all, it's gonna take me some while to get used to being in a gated community. Like, my first thought is this the setup? Yeah. So the little man pops out behind him, and I say, okay, what's happening? Yo, what I tell you, why is my life like this? Why is my life so colorful? You guys, this is all. If you're coming in late, I'm explaining how I got a stress pimple. Yeah? Okay. Calm down because I'm reliving it. Little man pops out. I said, oh, what's happening? He said, this is my uncle. He said it in Spanish, but even though Spanish is my second language, actually, no, Spanish is my second language, French is my first, Creole is my third, English is my fourth. Guess who failed Spanish? Ha! Shout out to, assimilation. So he says in Spanish, this is my uncle, and I immediately understand. And then I say, hey, by the way, I know I'm supposed to speak Spanish because I'm half Cuban, but can we just do English moving forward? Because I think he had asked me blue, and I said, yes, azul, right? Because I'm so used to saying blue in Spanish when I see somebody who's Spanish. I think me saying azul made him think, oh, we can kiki. No, we can't, honey. I know blue and donde es and about 5 other things, okay? My daddy would be ashamed of me. So, no, he wouldn't. He'd be proud. Because I don't even play about shit like that. So he pops out, says, this is my uncle. I say, please speak English because my Spanish is a little rusty. The azul might have oversold my abilities. And he laughs and said, Miss Blue, you so funny. And we walk in. This is all lovely, right? Except for the little man popping out. That was a little disturbing. What I did not realize is I think the little man was drunk. Okay, I'm hearing this out loud. My life is ridiculous. My life is ridiculous. I think the little man, his uncle. I think his uncle was drunk. Now, what made me realize that the little man that jumped up behind him, because I need you guys to understand, when you are like a Russian doll and somebody pops up behind you, that's how I will always see you in my head. So I realized he might have been drunk because I not only have a house in Boston where my mother has spent my entire life having a handyman. My mother has a live-in handyman, guys, who still lives in the house. I can't put him out. I feel bad. He lives in the basement. He pays a very small amount of rent. We have a live-in handyman in the house. So I come from the ilk of bougie bitch where, no, we're not even going to go to Home Depot. Nigga, do you want a half-price apartment so you can just fix things at my leisure? So how do I say this? I know paint when it's good and when it's bad. I'm thinking they're upstairs doing their thing. That's when I was like, oh my God, this house is going to be so dope. I'm like measuring stuff. I'm so excited. I'm listening to a podcast. I'm like, the natural light here is so amazing. Something says, Blue, go upstairs and check. Because there's 3 levels to my house, right? And the 3rd level is the blue suite. Nobody's allowed up there. It's my dressing room / content room and my bedroom. And by bedroom, I mean, it's a room that's simply for me to have a bed and sleep. Everything else happens in the other room. So I walk up to the content room, which is supposed to be the master bedroom. We don't say that anymore, guys. We say primary bedroom because master refers to slaves. I don't want none of the TikTokers trying to cancel me for saying master bedroom. I walk into the master bedroom. Usually when painters come, they put tape at the bottom and tape at the edges and maybe even tape around the window sill because it's an accent wall. Yes? This man is on a ladder just freestyling. You know how you always think to yourself, how do painters get sharp corners? This man has never been concerned about a sharp corner. The corners were, everything was a squiggle. He was painting. I'm getting mad again, so I'm pacing myself. There's no tarp on the floor. My brand new floor, because this is a new build. This house was just built 2 weeks ago, guys. This is a 2-week-old house. There's paint on my brand new floors. There's little bits of paint tap dancing on the walls that are not accented, because it's an accent wall, my nigga. That means just one wall. And I look at the main guy. Mind you, we have the same name. I forgot to mention this. The reason why I thought I could be safe with this motherfucker is because his name is Manuel and my name is Emanuela. So I'm thinking Manuel, Emanuela. Nigga, we got the same fucking name. Again, viva la asa. I'm thinking these are my... I look at Manuel. Didn't even bother to learn his uncle's name because fuck y'all. Seriously. I said, Manuel, what is this? He said, what? I said, Manuel, does that look like a straight line to you? He looks at okay, I don't want to laugh. Manuel looks at what his uncle did, because Manuel was using the roller, and proceeds to cuss this man the fuck out in front of me in very fast Spanish. I think I heard, you old drunk, stupido. It was and now I'm standing there like, are you about to beat up your drunk uncle in my master bedroom of my new house? Like, this is not how I want to start my fucking day. I'm laughing because it's actually ridiculous. So Manuel is cussing out his uncle, who, I'm so sorry, I know this sounds like I'm making it up. It feels like his uncle got shorter as he was getting cussed out. Like, the man just shrunk. And when you're 4'9", that's saying a lot. So Manuel's cussing at his uncle, but his uncle is not a punk ass bitch. His uncle starts cussing him back the fuck out. Now I'm like, they're about to have a street fight. And this is because I picked up a stranger from Home Depot because I have a long history of good things happening when I hire. So at this point I say, hey guys, this seems like a personal matter. Can you do me a favor and just put a tarp on the floor and some tape on the edges and do the best you can? Please just do the best you can. Please. Because at this point, it's black paint, guys. And this black paint costs like $100 a gallon. As they're arguing, they still have the paint brushes. I'm watching $10 just dripped out. I said, nah, come on, y'all. Come on. Please, please, please. I only bought 3 gallons. Okay? Do the math. So now I'm like, I'm hemorrhaging money. This needs to stop. So Manuel tells his uncle, go finish the wall that I started downstairs. I'll fix this myself. So now they're separated. Manuel's on the 3rd floor. Tito, his uncle, I'm calling him Tito because Uncle Plus, I think he drank some Tito's. Tito is in the basement. I mean, not the basement, the 1st floor. And I'm on the ground level looking up research stuff for the live that we had yesterday. I'm doing research for live because I'm always working. I'm never not working, guys. It's actually a little bit sick. So I'm thinking, okay, it was a weird moment. Why are y'all crying and laughing? This was very traumatic. This is like my first 24 hours in my new fucking home. Of course, this would happen to me. So I'm like, okay, Blue, it was a little mishap. He's downstairs. He's been neutralized while Manuel's doing upstairs. I go downstairs and there's drops of black paint everywhere. And the uncle is trying to wipe it off the floor using what I would later find out was the fresh roll of toilet paper that I put in my guest bathroom. Sir, why are you using my triple ply? My triple ply, not cheap. Why are you using triple ply toilet paper from the guest bathroom? If you've ever seen triple ply toilet paper, it's very fluffy and white, and it has things of cotton that pop up in the air because it's meant for your ass, not for the floor. At this point, I start to get what I call an anger headache. I say, sir, I'm begging you, please, no more, no más. Please. Suddenly, I'm so stressed. My Spanish starts to come back. Do you know how stressed you have to be for your native tongue to come back to you after 30 years of not using it? I say, sir, please, come on. He said, what? I said, sir, can you please put some tape down? He said, sure, okay. He proceeds to keep painting. I said, sir, no, stop. Then put some tape down, then continue taping. He said, sure. Goes back. I said, okay, so he's just saying sure to shut me up. Then I look at what he's doing. As he's painting, there are bumps on the wall. The paint is not smooth. The paint is bumpy. At this point, I said, Manuel, come down here. Manuel comes downstairs. I said, Manuel, why are there bumps? I didn't ask for patterns. Why are there bumps on the wall? He said, Miss Blue, it's going to dry. I said, yes, Manuel, it's going to dry with bumps. I know how paint works. If you paint it bumpy, it's going to dry bumpy. Can you smooth it before it dries? And why is there still no tape? I'm going to make a long story shorter. I had to ask these men 12 times. The first 7, I was nice. The last 5, God is still working on me. I had to ask these men 12 times to use tape. And the tape never showed up until the 12th time. Because at this point, Manuel kept on cussing out his uncle, but now I had started cussing out Manuel. So it was like a little fucking human centipede of anger. Yeah? So finally I said, Manuel, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to have to fire these niggas. I'm going to have to fire these niggas because there's no way in hell that I have to beg for tape and a tarp. And only the tape has shown up. There was never any tarp. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to fire Manuel. I feel so bad. He quoted me $400 to do the 2 accent walls and this big wall installation that I want in my living room. I'll tell you how much I ended up paying the Jesus later. So I am about to walk up to Manuel to fire him, and Manuel comes down to me. He's like, my uncle is stupid. I said, excuse me? He said, my uncle is stupid. I'm Mexican. Yesterday, we dealt with another woman. She Mexican. She tell me in Spanish, your uncle is a horrible piece of shit. I say, I agree, but he's my uncle. And I'm just like, wait, hold on. Wait, Manuel. My life is ridiculous. I said, Manuel, what does this guy do with my accent wall? He said he's stupid. He can't do it. So how about we leave? Manuel fired himself. The things Manuel said about his uncle, I can't repeat all of it because it was bad. I think there was something about erectile dysfunction. Like, he went in on this man. I said, Manuel, he can still hear us, and now you're hurting my feelings on his behalf. Did he show up to my house drunk with no tape and no tarp? Sure. But like, he's still a person. Yeah, I'm still an EQ coach at the end of the day, right? So Manuel is going off because he still won't. He's like, he's so stupid. I said, Manuel, I understand that you think your uncle is stupid. I think he's drunk. Do you mind just going downstairs and getting him some tape? Manuel does whatever needs to be done, comes back up, goes upstairs. And I walked to his uncle, and his uncle is still painting. I said, so check it. You were just fired. So we're ending this. Please stop. Now I'm saying, please stop. He said, what? I said, please stop. He said, okay. Okay, you want me to stop? I said, yes, please stop. I walk to leave because I'm thinking he's going to pack up. Something says, bitch, turn around because you know he don't listen. This man takes the jet black. Mind you, this paint is very expensive, so it's twice as thick as regular paint. He takes this jet tar black tape and proceeds to make a beeline to my guest bathroom again so that he can wash out his dirty brushes in my new porcelain sink that even I haven't fucking used yet. The way I wanted to, because you know he little. He's 4'9", I'm 5'9", okay? He's 4'9", I'm 5'9". The thing that almost jumped out of my body. I said, come on. No. What are you doing? He said, I'm cleaning my I said, okay, sir. Seriously? Manuel comes down. Now Manuel looks like he's about to hit him inside the head. I said, Manuel, please don't hit this man in my house because now I'm going to witness a crime. I'm going through enough. Please just take your brushes and find, just not in my porcelain sink. I haven't even washed my hands in the sink yet, guys. Come on. He's like, okay, I'm sorry. They leave. The uncle leaves. The uncle doesn't want to leave. Manuel had to push the man out the house because now the uncle is arguing, I can do it. I said, Manuel, you quoted me $40 for 4 walls. You did 1.5, and I'm being kind. You did 1.5, and half of that half is the wall that's not supposed to be painted. The uncle hears me, comes back in the house, and says, well, do you have white paint? I can fix it if you have white paint. I said, excuse me? Where did all this English come from? Because the entire time you were acting like you didn't understand English, but suddenly you want to jump in and say, if I had some white paint, you could fix it. I said, who's going to buy the white paint, Tito? He said, what? I said, you just said you could fix it with white paint. I agree. Who's going to buy the white paint? Because I know it's not going to be me, the person who paid you for 1 wall. Why would I buy white paint? Because you fucked up and couldn't draw within the lines. So who's going to buy the white paint? And I've been told my nonverbals can be loud. I don't know what, I might have squared up. Actually, let me be honest. I think I squared up on this little man, and I was towering over him by an actual foot. So when I was like, who's going to buy the white paint? I think he realized he was in danger because he scurried out, and I haven't seen him since. I said, Manuel, as I was saying before the man busted through the door, you quoted me $400 for 4 walls. I'm going to give you $160. I gave him $100. He said, this is for me. The 60 for my uncle. I said, Manuel, I don't care if you give the 60 to the man in the mirror. Get the fuck out of my house. I give him the $160, which, by the way, I regret it now. Because, do you know, I went to the upstairs bathroom. Porcelain sink. Black paint all around my sink. They washed their brushes in the upstairs bathroom and did not clean the sink out. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, bitch, don't lose it. I go upstairs, look at the third floor master bedroom / primary bedroom. And I'm like, he did a less shitty job, but this is really shitty. And I realized, Blue, you've painted before. He's worse than you. And I hate painting. So I'm like, okay, I'm stressed out. Let me go pee. I had to go pee. I go to the bathroom in the primary bathroom. Guess what's in the primary bathroom? More black paint in my porcelain sink that I've never used. But no, there's an extra friend. When I sit down to use the bathroom, there's splashes of black paint on my brand new wall that just got painted by the construction people 2 weeks ago. Splashes of black paint on a white wall in a bathroom that you were not painting. I'm like, these motherfuckers, I regret giving him $160. I should have only given him $100. I reach over to grab some toilet paper. Guess what's not there? This motherfucker stole my toilet paper. Do you know what it's like when you are 24 hours into your brand new home that you've been saving up for a very long time, and you hopefully are the first person sitting on your fresh new toilet, and there's splatters of black paint on the wall, and there's no toilet paper to wipe your ass? And that's the moment where I decided to call Paint Jesus. I hit up Paint Jesus. I said, I know I told you I was going to cancel this appointment, but can you please still come tomorrow? Because suddenly that $90, Jesus me Cristo. I called Paint Jesus with so much humility, and then this is what I did. I texted Bridget and Mel, because all the fun happens. And if I ever disappear and you want to know where I might be hiding, my group chat with Bridget and Mel probably has the deets. I texted Bridget and Mel and said, hey guys, I'm about to say something that's going to sound racist. I know it's going to sound racist. I promise you it's not. It's pattern recognition. Okay? When ICE came and was raiding all those establishments, I didn't stop to think about the implications at Home Depot. There's a video of me and Monique weeping about people being yanked up for being undocumented. I am somebody who was not an American citizen until I was 26. I came here when I was 3. It took me 23 years to become an American citizen because I'm Haitian and Cuban. The only place America hates more than Haiti is Cuba, right? Look it up. So I'm very sensitive when it comes to undocumented people. However, methinks those might have been the Picassos of the Home Depot. I'm not being problematic. I'm just connecting dots. I think those who remain at my local Home Depot who weren't yanked up are the ones who are only being booked because the others are gone. Can somebody who's Mexican please come in here and throw me some bell and tell me that this is not racist? This is me just perceiving. So that's what I came up with, guys. As the pop culture commentarian, I think the ICE raids has an impact in ways that did not hit me until it hit me. Drunk Tito only got a job because everybody else is gone. Somebody said the Nigerians and Latinos. I actually agree with that. They're very hardworking. They're very, very hardworking. And it's so funny, too, because my mother's Haitian. And when you go to nursing homes or even doctor's offices or any places where there's a lot of nurses and nurses' aides, it's a lot of Latin people, a lot of Jamaican people, a lot of Haitian people. So those demographics have very similar work ethics. You know what I mean? I do think that me being Afro-Latin, me coming from a Caribbean environment, and me having so many friends who are Southern Black, very specifically Southern Black, very specifically, I'm just around a bunch of people who have grandparents who work way too fucking hard, culturally speaking, right? And so, yeah, guys, if you go to Home Depot, more of the story is if you go to Home Depot and a man approaches you and you think you're about to have the interaction that you usually have in that circumstance, they've been yanked up. So you're thinking, Blue, is that why you got the stress pimple? Partially. The next day, Paint Jesus shows up. And I'm thinking, I text Bridget and Mel, ain't it some shit that because ICE yanked up so many undocumented workers who do such great work and who work a full, honest wage, I'm now having to call a white man to come charge me double the price to fix something. Like, it feels very interesting, right? It feels very interesting. There's something in there. I still need to unpack that. I call this white man, who I call Paint Jesus. Paint Jesus shows up and he's Slavic. He's Eastern European. Right? So I've gone from Tito being drunk, making squiggles on my accent wall and my regular wall that ain't got shit to do with this, to now a man who sounds like Boris and Natasha from Bullwinkle, right? And I'm like, bruh, everybody is a cartoon character. What the fuck? So the Slavic man, hello, I come to paint. And I was like, oh my God, this is a whole other, I'm going through so many, mind you guys, in the middle of all this, I'm going back and forth between my old house and my new house, pre-packing all my shit before the movers come next week. So I already feel like Harriet Tubman because my back is broken from the labor, right? Because nobody pointed out to me that when you get a 3-level townhouse, you got to walk up all them stairs. The other day I left my phone on the first floor. I said, I don't really need to talk to nobody that bad. And I proceeded to sing songs and stay at the wall until I fell asleep. I'm not going down there. I'm not. So this Slavic man shows up, Paint Jesus. He said, what the fuck? I said, I know. Please just fix it. Please just fix it. Also, I need you to do my bathroom. Also, I need you to do this accent wall. I told him about how I wanted him to angle the paint because it was like an interesting paint design that I wanted in my living room transitioning to my kitchen. Whole thing. Slavic tells me, well, I don't want to do it this way. I can just do it the regular. I said, sir, I picked you because you have all these interesting angled designs. I want an angled design. By the way, the angled design is busting. Even he admitted he was wrong. Just want to let you know. So he starts painting and everything looks amazing. This man is like Spider-Man. He's laying down tarp. He's hanging upside down. He's smoothing out bumpy spots. I'm like, nigga, you are amazing. And he was amazing. Here's the thing, though. Amazing takes time. This man who charges $90 an hour, I had to put him out my house. I said, sir, the sun is about to set. Can you please, how much longer? He said, no, I see a spot right here and another spot. I said, oh my God, sir. First of all, this is the best paint job I've ever seen in my life. I want to weep looking at the smoothness of this jet black wall. Also, how much longer? Opposite problem, where Tito and them and Manuel were just doing whatever the fuck ever. This man would not leave until every line was crispy, everything was smooth. I said, oh my God. Guess how long Paint Jesus was at my house for $9 an hour plus tip? 7 hours. Manuel had told me that he could do it in 2. And seeing the kind of work he did, he would have done it in 2. Paint Jesus took 7 hours. At $90 an hour plus tip. I'm not going to say the amount because then I'm going to have to clench my booty cheeks because it's going to hurt. This morning when my makeup artist showed up, I said, girl, it's a stress pimple. I'm going to tell you why in a second because I had another adventure before she got there. Actually, no, I'm not going to tell you what happened when my makeup artist showed up. I'm on my way. So I go through all of that. Paint Jesus gets put out my house lovingly, unlike the man who got shoved. I said, hey, sir, please leave. I love you so much. Please leave. Please leave my house. I'm begging you to leave. I actually cannot afford another minute. Not y'all doing the math. I said, I don't want another minute, another second. Mind you, $630 plus the $160 I already paid Tito and Manuel and them. So $800, guys, for 3 accent walls. $800 for 3 accent walls, because as somebody once said to me a long time ago, it's really expensive to be cheap. And they're right. I was trying to save $1 and it cost me way more than I need to. So he leaves. And he's who was knocking on the window on the door in that video from yesterday. Remember the video I posted yesterday, showing the wall, because I was so relieved that the wall looked good. This is before I knew it was going to be 7 hours. And I said, hold on, I'll be right there. I was talking to Paint Jesus in that video. If you go watch it back in my shorts. Paint Jesus leaves. My wallet hurts a little bit. I go to the old house. I do this live with y'all. I go back to the new house this morning because we're about to get these really beautiful privacy screens on all my windows, right? The reason why I can show you guys my house moving forward is because I'm putting privacy film also to keep my neighbors from seeing inside, right? So this man shows up and he is scheduled to do 3 hours of privacy screens. First of all, he had a smell. He smelled like dirty armpit and stale vodka. I'm not just saying that because he was also Russian. I'm not racially profiling. He just really smelled like old liquor and armpit. So Gia, you're saying you live in LA. Why does that matter? Do you know a good painter? Well, actually, mind you, this is all happening because my painter of several years, Maya, was out of town. If Maya was around, I wouldn't be going through none of this, okay? And she's Afro-Latina. She's a Black woman. Shout out to you, Maya. So I'm thinking this smelly man is just going to come put my privacy screen, paint a film on, and then leave. He shows up and he says the same thing that the first 2 men had said the day before that I forgot to mention. He looks around the house. He said, this is your house? I said, yeah, it's a new build. Because you guys, when I lived on Melrose Ave, I was used to Uber drivers questioning if I could afford my studio back then. So I already immediately know where this is going. So this is your house? I said, yeah. He looks perturbed that I could have this house. He said, it's very nice. I said, thank you. It's a new build. Again, it should be nice. Nobody's ever lived here. He said, but do you rent or did you buy it? I said, I rented it. He said, oh, okay, you're only renting it. And he felt better. I said, sir, can you please put the film on the windows rather than trying to figure out why I'm in a house you don't think I deserve? So he says, okay, I'm going to put the film on. He starts to put the film on, and I get a knock from the maintenance guy. There was something I need to take care of. And I go back in the room, and the privacy, you guys know, I read reviews for weeks. The privacy film that I chose is so beautiful. It's breathtaking. I'm not saying because I chose it, right? It's breathtaking. My breath was took, okay? I said, oh my God, this is so beautiful. I'm thinking, This is going to be better than yesterday. Yesterday, there was drunk people and squiggles. Now there's a slightly smelly man who's really good at his job because he's window film Jesus. I read reviews, okay? I'm like, I'm going to stick to TaskRabbit. This man has exceptional reviews. So him being good at his job didn't surprise me. He does one. I go upstairs to start planning out my day because there's like 8 different things I had to do. Carlos's team. Oh, by the way, the reason I'm wearing makeup is because I was on Carlos's show again. We did a really great episode with Reality with the King with 2 of the married couples from Married Huntsville and one of the other married franchises. You know, Carlos has all those shows on OWN for married people. So 2 of the couples from his show came on to have me come on as a co-host with him to interview them about the viral clip that we're going to be talking about today. Guys, we're here today to talk. After story time, we're going to be talking about Dr. Simone and that viral clip of her son and her husband disrespecting the fuck out of her. So it just so happened that Carlos his team had hit me up the day before in the middle of this paint fiasco. So imagine I'm watching Tito get cussed out and then they're bitch slapped by his nephew Manuel, while Carlos's assistant is like, "Can you do a show with us tomorrow?" My life is weird. So here's what happened though. The stress pimple happened when the paint incident happened. Guess what I had to cancel in order to do Carlos's show today? My appointment with my facialist. Because the minute I saw this, I said, "Oh no, honey, we don't do that. Nope, we don't do that." So I had an appointment with my facialist at the exact time that Carlos' team wanted me to film. And I chose to do the episode because the topic was so important. Having married Black couples talking about another married Black couple and speaking from that perspective, I will always show up for a conversation like that because it's so important to watch men and women, particularly people of color, having honest and healthy conversation. Right? Like, y'all know that's my bag. So I was like, there's no way I can miss this episode. So I had to cancel my facial. And as I'm canceling my facial, the pimple just keeps growing and growing. I'm like, "Carlos, you're lucky I love you because I really need this taken care of." Why is this important? My pimple was smaller. It got bigger because of what happened today. Right? This is all yesterday. Today, smelly Russian man with impeccable skills is working on my first window. I'm like, "Oh my God, this is breathtaking. My breath is took." I'm about to walk out thinking, I just sized you up because you deserve it. He says, "Hold on for a second." He said, "You come back." Why are you barking? You come back to me. I'm not going to pretend. Y'all, I did the slow motion Lawrence Fishburne, Ike Turner turn. Excuse me? He said, and he grabs his phone. He says, how many more of these do you need? I said, "It's a 3-floor townhouse and there's windows on all 3 floors. He said, "Oh no, I can't do that." I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "I can't do that because I have somewhere to be at 11. Mind you, the appointment's for 9:30. I said, "Sir, I booked you for a 3-hour window on TaskRabbit. You started at 9:30. You got here at 9:35. How are you going to do a 3-hour task in 90 minutes? He said, "No, it can't be. See?" And he shows me his phone. 11 o'clock and then again at 1:30. I said, "Sir, I don't care if the second coming of Christ and Paul Revere is on that phone. I booked you for 3 hours." This film is not, by the way, guys, also not, nothing that I have in my house is cheap. And by cheap, I mean quality, guys. Inexpensive is price, cheap is quality. Those nuances matter, right? Because something can be inexpensive, but still not be cheap. Nothing in the house is, I'm like, I custom ordered these and it took me forever to get them. And now that they're here, you're saying you can't do the job, even though you're doing a great job because you have somewhere to be in 90 minutes. Actually, no, not even 90 minutes because you were late. In 85 minutes, you have somewhere else to be. He said, "Yeah, I can. I do. I'll see how much I can do." I said, "No, you're going to be here for 3 hours. I booked you for 3 hours." At this point, I'm thinking, there's no fucking way in hell this man is serious. I go back upstairs. He says, "Come down here." He yells at me from the kitchen, "Come down here." I said, "My nigga, you got one more time to bark at me in my own fucking house that you don't think I deserve." I said, "What's going on?" He said, "I messed up your table. The brand new office table that just got delivered yesterday." He said, "Yeah, I cut and the knife go through the table." Sir, that table was just delivered. At this point, I can feel, mind you, there's another stress pimple. Where's the other one? It's hiding somewhere under my hair. Right here. There's another stress pimple right here. At this point, I start to feel this stress pimple coming up. I said, sir, this is a brand new office table that I just got yesterday. The box the table came out of is right there. That's how you can see the box, right? Because I'm moving. What are you going to do about it? He said, what do you mean? I said, you destroyed my table. What are you going to do about it? He said, I could sand it and fix it. I said, great. I love solutions. I go back upstairs. At this point, I already could tell what kind of day I'm about to have. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing day 2 of this. Also, he smelled I didn't want to be in his vicinity too long. He continues working. He comes upstairs and says, can you come see what my work? I go downstairs. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely fucking gorgeous. We walk upstairs. I show him the 2 windows. And then I show him the other bedrooms. He said, there's more house? I said, yes, yes, there's more house. He said, what do you do for a living? I said, we're not doing this. I regret telling you that I was renting. We're not doing this. Let's walk upstairs and I'll show you the more house so you can see the other rooms. I show him the 2 bedrooms upstairs that also need to be privacy film. He says, I didn't realize your house was this big. I can't do this in 90 minutes. I said, well, you weren't booked for 90 minutes. You were booked for 3 hours. He said, I can't do it. He said, no, I wasn't. I said, yes, you were. He said, show me where I was booked for 3. I said, sir, you have been arguing with me for 15 minutes. If you are crunched for time and you were 5 minutes late and has spent 15 minutes arguing with me, that's now 20 minutes of you running your mouth and not working. So moving forward, don't say shit to me unless you're working. Call me down politely to talk to you while you're working. But you talking instead of working is not going to fucking happen in my house. Go to work. You're getting paid. You're not doing me a favor. This man is getting paid $70 an hour, by the way, guys. $70 an hour. He said, but I said, sir, I'm not paying for this. Go work. Then we can talk. He starts raising his voice. I said, I don't think you realize how unsafe you are. Whatever you're about to say, go downstairs, get back to work, and then ask yourself, do you feel safe saying it if I come down? Ask yourself, is it safe for me to say this to her? Look at my face right now and ask yourself, is it safe for me to say this to her right now? Mind you, again, I'm 5'9". This man is 5'6". Little mean men, when women say they don't date short men, it's because they're being about aesthetics. I used to date short men. The reason I don't date short men now is not because I'm against it. My daddy's only 5'4". My daddy's short as fuck. My daddy's 5'4", my mother's 5'6". I'm only 5'9" because my grandma's 6'1", right? So I'm not opposed to short men because a lot of women like to date men who remind them of their fathers. Until I realize how mean they can be. If you're dating a kind short man, congratulations. So now I'm towering over this man like, are you fucking sure that you want to say what you want to say right now? He goes downstairs. He must have been like, did this bitch just sun me? He stomps back upstairs. Instead, but no, I have to go. I said, sir, and I take the phone. I just pulled up our chat. It says $70 an hour, estimated time 2 to 3 hours. It's in the chat. You've always had access to the fact that this was a 3-hour booking. So now that you see that you were wrong, can you stop calling me a fucking liar and get back to work? Can you stop calling me a liar and get back to work? Now that you realize I'm not lying, you're just wrong and can't read. He gasps. I felt like he gasped in Russian. It felt like it was in cursive. He goes downstairs and proceeds to ignore me for the rest of the day. My makeup artist shows up. And she says to me, hey, this house is so nice. This is definitely an upgrade, bitch. You undersold it. I said, girl, you're going to have to work with this. I got a stress pimple. She said, really? But hold on. These walls are so beautiful. I've tried to paint my walls in black and it always comes out so bad. Black is, by the way, those who don't know, black is the hardest color to paint and have look good because all your sins show up in black. She says, this paint is amazing. I said, the paint is where I got the pimple from. She said, what? I said, girl, a drunk Mexican man showed up with his uncle. It was a lot, girl. Just try to cover this up. She couldn't cover it up. As she's there, she's like, who's knocking around upstairs? I tell her, oh, the man upstairs double booked himself. He's supposed to be here for 3 hours. He's getting paid for 3 hours. But he called me a fucking liar until I pulled up the phone and said, this you. And now he's stomping upstairs, being passive aggressive. And I know he can hear me because I haven't soundproofed the house yet and there's no furniture in here. And I don't care. You know why? Because I'm fucking paying him. He's not doing me a favor. The stomping suddenly stopped. Yes, every stroke of black paint shows up. You guys, if you're painting your house black, hire paint Jesus. Do not do it yourself. So he comes down to get something and is now avoiding eye contact and is refusing to speak to me, my makeup artist. She's like, his energy is funky. I said, I know, right? They are supposed to leave at the same time. But when she leaves, because I have to leave, I have to go to this house where I'm at right now, the old house, because I don't have Wi-Fi in the new house yet. So I had to do Carlos' show in the old house. I'm wondering, why is he lingering? I timed this so you and her could leave at the same time. She is pulling out the driveway. Why are you still here? It says, okay, so let's talk about this bill. I said, no, we don't have to talk about anything, baby. This is TaskRabbit. This is all done automated. Part of why I hired TaskRabbit is so that we don't have to go through all this. They're going to charge me for the 3 hours that you were here. He says, but what about Cash App? I said, why? He said, don't you want to give Cash App so you can take, so you can, somebody said unsafe. Yeah, he was unsafe. I was fine. He said, well, don't you want to Cash App me a tip? I said, excuse me? He said, I'm pulling out my phone so you can Cash App me a tip. I said, sir, you were here for 3 hours. The site gives me the option to tip you based on the service you provided. I'd rather go through the site. He said, no, I was here for longer than 3 hours. I put in here that I got here. Okay, I was 5 minutes late. I got here at 9:35, but I didn't leave until 12:47. I said, sir, you were done at 12:28 because I felt like you want to play these games. You were done at 12:28 because you stomped your way across the finish line and then lingered for 20 extra minutes so you could get a tip out of me. He said, but I worked more than 3 hours. I said, no, if you subtract the 20 minutes of you arguing with me in my house, you actually worked exactly 3 hours. I'm not going to give you a tip or pay you extra for you disrespecting me. That extra 15, 20 minutes was you cussing me out. Did you forget that part? And he looked at me like, oh. I said, yeah, oh, get out my house. And I slammed the door behind him. Oh, wait, is my smoothie here? I ordered a banana and strawberry smoothie, no dairy because I'm lactose intolerant because I knew I was going to need it. He leaves and goes ripping out of my driveway. The look I saw on his face was shock, but also a little bit of respect, which is weird. How do you suddenly respect me after you just spent all this time playing in my fucking face? He leaves. I do the show. As I'm coming back here, I'm setting up to go live. And I get a pop-up from Airbnb saying, hey, that house that you rented out, we're about to charge you the remainder in 3 days. Just a little heads up that you're going to be charged, insert several $1,000s in 3 days. Motherfucker, I forgot how much the house was for. I rented this house back in like October before I even had moved into this house, when I had a very fat, thick savings account, right? Blue today. So I said, oh, hold on, thousands of dollars for a third house. I'm already busting my ass trying to juggle these 2 houses. I don't need a third house. So I send Bridget and my sister a voicemail saying, hey guys, I know I told you that I rented this beautiful house in WeHo for the first week of the year, and it was going to be the Golden Girls and all that stuff. But considering I now just moved into a new home and have been spending a shit ton of money setting it up, I'm stuck. Should I still keep the house and use it as a reprieve from all the moving? Because in the middle of all the moving, I might want to go someplace that's already nice and clean. Or should I just cancel it because my rent is due again in a week? Because you guys, when you move on the 15th, you pay for that half of the month, and then you have a fresh month and 2 weeks later, right? I paid rent to my old house on the 1st. I paid rent plus security deposit to my new house on the 15th. And now I got to pay rent again next week. Bridget, my sister says, girl, you know you like luxury, just get it. Bridget, though, says, Blue, you work too fucking hard to be spending that kind of money on getting us a house for the week. We'll be fine. And honestly, the new house is just as nice as the Airbnb. And that's when it hit me. I had gone through all this struggle to get my house set up before Christmas, not realizing that the Airbnb houses that I usually stay at as a staycation, I'm going to be living at full time. I don't actually need the staycation house. I am the staycation. I said, bitch, you're right. It hasn't occurred to me in the same way that when a woman loses weight, we often hold on to our old clothes longer than we're supposed to because in our minds, we're still that old weight. We're still fat in our heads. We don't realize when we're losing weight or getting in shape or when somebody grows their hair out. Whenever there's a change, it takes you a while. This is the message in this, by the way. I'm not just sharing to share, although it helps to vent. Because again, me and my stress people have been through a lot mind you, this has only been 48 hours. I said, oh my God, Blue, you are so used to daydreaming about living in houses like that. It hasn't occurred to you that you do live in a house like that now. So many times we dream for things and we hope for things and the thing arrives and we still keep moving as if we're waiting for it to come. And I said, oh my God, you guys are right. I'm in my dream space. The only place that I want to live aside from where I live now is my home that I buy, right? This is my last rental. The next time Blue Tulusma moves, it will be because I bought a house, right? Not just rented, because, pocket watching, fucking, let me stop. The fact that 3 men came in my house to work for me, but then spent the first 5 minutes of every visit trying to quantify why I deserve the space I was in, not lost on me. And that's also ties into what happened to Dr. Simone. Oh, this all ties in, guys, right? Everything I'm experiencing is the plight of a successful Black woman in a room full of men who resent her and are taking liberties with her. It doesn't just happen when you're, have a deadbeat husband and a bunch of entitled sons. I said that this live, what is it called? Married to Medicine, a cautionary tale for successful Black women. This, what I'm telling you, I'm very clear that if I was a Black man, none of these exchanges would have happened. Make sure I'm not getting that line in my mouth. I'm very clear that if I was a Black man, fuck race, this is only about gender, actually. If I was a Black man, none of this bullshit would have happened to me in this way. Nobody would be asking me if I deserve the house that I've been busting my ass saving for. Nobody would be talking to me crazy and barking at me. Nobody would be bringing their drunk uncle over to my house. Somebody said, okay, transition. You like that? Yeah, I try. Right? And so I'm sitting there, I'm thinking to myself on the couch, mind you, we're now 27 minutes before this live started. It's 27 minutes before the live, and Bridget and my sister's like, you're right. I was trying to be just fast because I'm going through something. You're right, Bridget. She does need to cancel that house because I only have 48 hours to cancel the house. And Bridget starts preaching to me, and I love it when your friends reflect to you the same level of investment that you invest into them. She starts talking to me the way I talk to everybody else. She's like, Blue, we love you. We're going to support you. Your friends are here for you. You worked really hard to acquire this. You deserve it. It was not a hookup. Enjoy your fucking house. Fuck the Airbnb. And you need to rest. And then they told me that I'm not allowed to go live after today until Monday. So guys, this is my last live until Monday. I'm going to take 72 hours. 72 hours off from live. I still have to go back to the house tomorrow, do a bunch of shit at 8 o'clock in the morning, then get on a flight to Boston, fly cross country East Coast, and then make sure my sister's okay because I got her a hotel at the same hotel I'm at, and then spend the entire weekend doing shit for my mom. So my 3 days off is off from being live. I'm not going to probably sleep until Sunday, right? No, fuck it. I'm going to sleep on the plane. So she was like, Blue, you need to take time off. And you need to enjoy the money that you're making because you're making it and then taking care of people and spending and doing stuff, but you're not sitting and enjoying it. I was like, you're right. We had a whole intervention, child. They had a whole intervention and they convinced me that I needed to cancel the Airbnb. The Airbnb that I've been talking about for months. I say to myself, Blue, you are not letting yourself enjoy it. You work too hard. When do you let yourself enjoy it? And I feel like there's somebody in here who needs to hear this. And it's not about money, it's about work. Just because you're broke doesn't mean you're not working hard. Capitalism tells you that people who work the hardest make the most money. There's a lie. That is a lie, that is a lie, that is a lie. You can work, somebody out there is working harder than me, and they still can't afford that house. Can we be honest? Right? Are we going to tell the truth today? Right? There's a privilege in what I'm able to do with my hard work. The fact that I was able to go to certain schools, have certain education, be in certain rooms, and be able to build a certain level of credibility and then build an audience, that is all a fucking luxury. It is all a privilege. I do not take it for granted. So I would never come on here and say, well, if you work really, really hard. No, you might work really hard and still not get that, baby. Because capitalism is not meant to be fair. Capitalism is not meant to be fair. I deserve everything that I have. But just because someone doesn't have it doesn't mean they're not equally deserving. Yeah? Because a lot of people become influencers and start making money and get new houses and then suddenly start thinking they're better than other people, not recognizing it's a roll of the draw. There are millions of people who are just as smart as me who are trying to build the same platform that I get to take for granted. I don't take it for granted, but I could if I wanted to, right? And so I was like, oh my God, like I deserve it. And also I'm blessed to have it. I'm going to enjoy my fucking house on New Year's Eve. We're going to do a New Year's live. That live that we're going to do for Terror Tuesday, it's going to happen in my new house. Fuck the Airbnb. It's going to happen in my new house. Now that I have privacy film, I feel safe showing out my house. And so I was like, you're right. And I got up and I ordered my food that was stolen by my Uber driver. More on that in a second. And I say out loud, because I like to talk to myself out loud. I deserve it, and it's time that I enjoy it, and it's time that I find a way to do what I love without being so tired all the time. The minute I said this, guys, I hear a pop in the other room. It sounded like gunshots. I'm like, what the fuck? I run into the dining room, and there on my altar is my road opener candle, and it exploded and then died off. That only happens when my aunt's trying to talk to me. Yes, guys, I use my own candles. The candles are not just for play. These are candles I've been using for years. And I called Bridget and Mel. I did the voice and I said, guys, you know how the altar works. I live in a very witchy house, guys. You know how the altar works. The minute I agreed that y'all were right, and I need to find a way to be kinder to myself while doing this work that I love. And the reason I work so hard is because I love my work so much, it doesn't feel like work. Until my eyes start twitching, I'm like, bitch, you haven't slept in 3 weeks. I was like, the minute I decided to be kinder to myself, the road opener candle exploded and then died off. And they were like, Auntie approves. I'm like, yeah, Auntie approves. You want to talk about a transition? So, number one, if you want to buy some candles, you might want to buy them again in December and January, because I might shut down the candle shop in February. There's a chance. I'm hoping not to, but I'm trying to figure out how to be kinder to myself. So there's a chance that when I leave the candle shop that's in the backyard of my old house that I spent all that money building, when I leave the candle shop and transition to the new house, there might be a couple of weeks where I'm figuring out a new way to do business. Yeah. So if you want to get a candle, buy it this month. But also, like, the candle exploding felt so good because it was like, bitch, yes, we've been trying to tell you this. You need to be kinder to yourself. So guys, we all know what it's like to work hard when you're hoping to get a dream. What happens to you when the dream has happened? The thing you've been praying for has completely manifested, and you still don't know how to sit the fuck down. You still don't know how to take care of yourself. You still don't know how to be gentle with yourself. You're so busy feeling lucky and blessed and humbled by opportunities that you forget shit like sleeping and boundary setting and internal dialogue, right? That's what I believed happened to Dr. Simone. Dr. Simone was a Black girl in Atlanta, or wherever she's from. I think she currently lives in Atlanta. She was a Black girl in the South who wanted to be a doctor, wanted to be an OBGYN, wanted to work with women, wanted to have a handsome husband and beautiful children. And at some point, she wanted to be on TV. Every single thing that she wanted happened for her tenfold. Yeah. And yet today I am going live because we're about to unpack how she instead is living in a nightmare simply because she forgot to put herself first. Somebody said too loud, Blue, too loud. Look, they just had an intervention with me before I came live. I'm just passing it on, right? This energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. Part of the reason why I think so many women, myself included, particularly women who are either successful and or are always the ones who figure it out. Because just because you aren't successful doesn't mean you're not the girl who always figures it out. I remember being broke and still being the girl who everybody thought was going to figure it out, right? I was on unemployment with a partner who was also unemployed, but I was paying the bills. We'll never do that shit again. Shout out to Struggle Love, not for me. So for those out there who are watching and wondering, why does this Dr. Simone clip trigger us so much? And I'm going to explain the clip to you guys, so don't worry. It's because Dr. Simone is literally the human personification of our worst nightmare. What happens if I get all the things and I'm still fucking miserable? Because they tell us if you have a beautiful job, make millions of dollars, have a husband and some healthy kids, you're living the dream. No. If you lose yourself, what was the point? If you lose yourself, what was the point? What's the point of working 7 days a week and renting out this big ass house and customizing everything when I can't even give myself permission to enjoy it on New Year's Eve and think I have to go somewhere else to have a good time? If you can't enjoy it, what was the point? Right? Somebody says, yes, Dr. Simone's life terrifies me. So guys, I'm going to do the level setting. So for timestamps 106, we did an hour instead of 20 minutes of life updates. So the house has been canceled. I'm going to be home for New Year's Eve rather than in that big old house down the street. I'm going to be surrounded by people I love. I feel very blessed. And I'm going to learn in 2026 to enjoy the things that I've manifested. Every New Year's, we sit around and think about manifesting things. How about this New Year's, we also spend some time thinking about how to enjoy what we already have? Why don't I hear that on New Year's resolutions? If you lose yourself, what was the point? Yes, Flo. Right? Every New Year's, we ask for more stuff. More money, more snatched waist, more dick, whatever it is. Every New Year's, we ask for more stuff. This New Year's, I'm going to ask to get better at enjoying the shit I already have. Because ironically, that's how you get more stuff, guys. That's the catch-22 of manifestation. When you're grateful for what you have, you can't help but attract even more of it. Now, I think my smoothie is melting on the porch. I'm going to play a video that gives you guys some level setting about what happened with Dr. Simone, because I know not everybody watches the show. MJ Harris, it's so funny. There's a creator named MJ Harris. I love him. I used to adore him on Facebook when I used to use Facebook. I'm not a Facebook girly anymore because the aunties are a little bit mean over there. Also, the aunties cussed me out on Facebook when I broke the B. Smith story because I had found the story from aunties gossiping on Facebook. Y'all didn't know about this? When B. Smith's story about her husband moving his white girlfriend into her house and living off her money while she had Alzheimer's, I broke that story because I was in a private Facebook group full of Facebook aunties. They were chatting about it, and that was the lead that I used to investigate it and break the story. And when they found out that I had, I guess, violated the Facebook auntie laws of privacy, they kicked me off of all the Facebook groups. And I said, well, fuck Facebook then. I've been on Instagram and YouTube and shit ever since. So me and Facebook, y'all just be spilling too much tea on Facebook, and I'm a reporter. Hello, right? And so I don't use Facebook, but MJ is a bright spot. So imagine my surprise last year when I was working on an app with an A-list couple. I cannot name them for contractual reasons, but a very beloved Black A-list couple was working with a colleague of mine to create a mindfulness app. I'll just say that, a mindfulness app. And they called me because they wanted me to be the voice of the app. My first thought is, who the fuck wants to wake up every morning hearing my voice like, hey, friend, you know what you need to do today? I was like, y'all sure? But as the voice of the app, I was working with them and a lot of the talent that they were recruiting. One of the people that they recruited as talent was Icky, because I recruited him as talent, right? I still think he's talented. Not a great person, allergic to accountability, but very talented. I'm not a hater. Just because I don't trust somebody doesn't mean I'm ever going to downplay their talent. So when I recruited Icky, my colleague recruited MJ. And MJ and I had a great conversation, during that initial meeting. And I was so excited about working with him. And there was a video that I did that went viral. I forgot what video it was. And MJ saw it and he was like, oh my God, I love this video so much. So I'm a big fan of MJ. The app didn't work out because they didn't have enough money, and I no longer work for free. If there's anybody who's like, Blue, can I pick your brain? I will send you the link for a consultation. I don't get my brain picked for free 22 years into my career. Respectfully, right? You've heard my bills. I can't afford it. I love y'all so much. Don't ever ask me for free advice unless I offer it. I quite literally can't afford to give free advice. I got like 8 dependents, right? So I was so excited about working with MJ, but when the app ran out of money, they ran out of me. I said, I love you so much, friend. I can't work for free. And so when I saw MJ on my timeline talking about Dr. Simone, no part of somebody said my voice is peaceful. Are you serious? In my mind, my voice sounds like anxiety and autism, but sure. So I was so excited to see MJ talk about it because MJ had the exact same reaction I did. So rather than me give you a recap, I'm going to let MJ do it. And by the time he's done, me and my milkshake, not milkshake, I can drink milk. Me and my smoothie will be back. All right, so let me put this up on the screen.
You should never marry a man like Dr. Simone's husband. That type of man will send you to an early grave and will literally cry, not that you're in the early grave, but he will cry because of the fact that he doesn't have your bank password to get money out while he waits on the life insurance policy to pay out. That's my opinion about that type of man. So just to give y'all some background, okay? Dr. Simone, a multi-million, I'm assuming she's a multi-millionaire, has a very successful medical practice in Atlanta. She's on a reality show called Married to Medicine. She's got 2 adult sons. I think they're probably like in their early 20s, right? One of them, I believe, is about to go to law school or already is in law school. Long story short, a scene has been floating around from a very recent episode of the show where her son, right, was sitting up here saying, basically, Mom, I want you to buy me a new truck. She had already, I guess, bought him a Jeep or something like that. And her whole position, at least, is I understood it, right? And just to cover myself, this is allegedly, I'm just responding to stuff that I saw on TV. This is all my opinion. I'm not an authority on this matter. Nonetheless, her son was she had come to him and basically like, hey, I guess she wanted him to take over the note for the truck or wanted him to take on more financial responsibility. He then does what I think a lot of young entitled men do, which is he tried to convince his mother that no, he's not the problem. Her wanting him to do more is the problem. While his behavior was problematic and him pushing back was problematic, what made it worse was that when she then revealed the credit card bill, because I guess she gives him a credit card to use, she showed him that over the last year, he had spent $60,000 on that credit card. And I'm not criticizing that, right? There's a lot of people out here who are wealthy enough where allowing their child to spend $60,000 on a credit card is not an issue to them.
It'd be an issue for me. Shit. You guys, $60,000 is some people's salary. $60,000 is an adult salary, and you flippantly spent it on your mother's credit card and then proceeded to embarrass her on national television. Oh, I'm getting stressed just thinking about it.
Okay, and at the end of the day, I'm not here to talk down about someone else's wealth. If anything, that's what we should aspire to be in a position where we have those type of resources. But here's the bigger issue that happened. After this all came up, as this conversation is happening, her husband is sitting there like a bump on the log. Go watch the clip. He's sitting there like this, just looking shiftless. Y'all ever heard the word shiftless? That's what we say in the country. Just shiftless. Like he ain't worth a dog, right? And when he finally opened his mouth, do you think that he defended his wife? No. Do you think he stood on her side? No. He came to the defense of the son. The spoiled, entitled son. Now, from what I know about the husband, and again, this is allegedly, there could be some things I don't know. In fact, comment below. When they first started the show, I think he worked in IT, but she was still making more to him. Now, I don't think he does that anymore. I think he got a real estate license, but honey, everybody got a real estate license nowadays, but we know that a very small percentage of people with a license actually make money with it.
Shout out to actual real estate agents. Can we say that? On behalf of me and my juicy pimple. Let me see if I can cover this up, child, because this thing is fucking with me. They don't stress me into a stress pimple, child. On behalf of me and my juicy pimple, shout out to anybody who is a real estate agent and doesn't just have a license in order to flex and explain why they're unemployed, but technically can't be looked down on. Y'all realize that we understand that real estate license without any real estate is a fashion show with no fashions, and it's just a pretty word for unemployed, yeah? It makes me feel, the reason why I don't call myself a life coach is because of that. Life coach just usually means that you had a bad breakup and now you think you're Gandhi. You'll be like, Blue, what's an EQ coach? It's a bitch who actually knows what she's doing. Please don't call me a life coach. I have nothing against actual life coaches, but 80% of them, let me stop.
Right? But he got a license. And I'm assuming he makes money from being on the show. But I don't know that he makes a lot of money or not. Regardless, she's clearly the breadwinner, right? He starts defending the son. And when she said, I'm only working for the sake of being able to take care of you guys and take care of the expenses that you all are having me pay, because if I were to stop taking care of you all, I could stop working today. Listen to that. She could retire now.
The fact that the only reason why this 59-year-old woman, who is a multimillionaire, and she is, because I'll show you a clip later about her son flexing on her being a millionaire. The fact that this woman is 59 and a millionaire and cannot have a retirement account because her men in her family, her men, her husband and her 2 sons are sucking her dry. My mother, when she had kidney failure and I had to take over the house and all her bills, my first thought was, you live in a house with several men. There's the handyman in the basement. There's his roommate. There's the 2 men who are renting out the ADU in the backyard. There's my stepdad. There's the man who lives on the top floor. And then there's the man who lives on the second floor. That's how many men is that? 6 men? My mother was running a house where 6 men still currently live. And she was the only one paying the bills in full. And then I inherited it. I'm going to give y'all 3 guesses what happened when I inherited the house. Everybody's paying rent. Everybody. Yeah? So my mother is a Simone. And me having to take over her role for a single month made my eye twitch. I believe if my mother knew how to set boundaries, she would not have created the habits that made her kidney fail. I'm mentioning this not to have a sob story. I'm mentioning it because I'm telling you guys, Simone is 59. My mom was still doing this at 59. It caught up to her by the time she was 75. I know for a fact that taking care of all those men shaved years off of her life. I know that for a fact. For a fact. And it took me, her daughter, coming in and cussing everybody out and charging them rent to give her a couple of those years back. And so the Simone story triggers me not only because she's my worst case scenario and she's all of us a worst case nightmare, it also triggers me because I'm worried about her safety. I don't think enough women understand that this actually makes us sick. So many women in my family and in my community have died from physical ailments that stem from doing this and how it translates to your body later in life. So Simone is 59. She better fix it before she's 65, child. Her 70s are going to be rough if she's still living like this. I promise you.
But she's taking care of them. Do you think he stepped in and said, wow, babe, I didn't realize that? Of course I don't want my wife to have to.
Oh, yeah, they call me scary. Every single one of them niggas is scared of me right now. They're texting me on a group chat right now because I just paid for a boiler to be replaced. And they're all keeping it respectful. Yeah, they call me evil. I don't care.
To work unnecessarily. Yeah, no, you don't have to do that. What did he do? He defended it. This man don't care about her well-being, and that's why I say these type of men are some of the worst men you can ever marry.
Yeah.
They are emotionally weak. Men who don't stand up for you. Men who are not in your corner. Men who will defend everybody else but you. The minute that you see that a man is more concerned with the approval of someone else than he is with you, then understand that that man is your enemy.
Agreed.
It may be that he's more concerned with your children's approval than yours. It may be that he's more concerned with his mama's opinion than yours or his friends' opinions, whoever it may be. When your man don't have your back, and it's about something having to do with your well-being, your physical or financial well-being, get away from that man.
By the way, guys, because I just finished doing that episode with Carlos, which is out tomorrow, tune in. And if you do tune in, tell Carlos that Blue sent you. I was so curious about how the men in that room would perceive me, right? Because people like 19 Keys tend to run from me when they get tagged in my shit. And so I'm used to certain Black men being sensitive about how they can tell I'm compassionate, but I'm also with the shits, yeah? So Carlos tells them, hey, this is Blue. And Marcellus, who I thought was going to be the most on the fence about me, he's like, oh, no, I know who she is. And the other one was like, yeah, no, I like it. I like what she says. And I was like taken aback. I was like, what you mean, Black man? You like what I had to say? I'm used to y'all wanting to fight me. What's going on? And I said, well, I appreciate that. I do my best just to be fair. And he said, yeah, I can tell. Honey, the way I almost burst into tears, because as a woman who is trying to be fair and also not a people pleaser, you become accustomed to men not seeing the mastery in doing both. You become accustomed to men not understanding how much self-control, self-esteem, and compassion it takes to call them out, but also call them in without shaming them. Yeah? And I'm so used to fragilely masculine men who are not in my friend group, because I'm only friends with good guys, right? So if you're my friend, I think you're a good man. But when it comes to men that aren't my friend circle, I'm used to them being so defensive that seeing these two men who've been married for 20 plus years be like, no, we've seen you on Carl's show and we think you're really reasonable. It was so affirming to me that the only men who ever seem to have a problem with a confident and compassionate woman are men who are fragile and insecure. Can we call that out? The only men who seem to have a problem with women who are powerful and steeped in their power, but also compassionate, is men who themselves lack one or the other, if not both. Because if a man doesn't like a woman because she's confident to the point of being cocky and being a toxic feminine, that's just called self-esteem. Nobody likes being talked down to. So that's not even gender. That's just human nature, right? If a man takes advantage of a woman who's compassionate, he's a taker and a charlatan. That's just nigga shit. But when you see someone who's doing both at a certain level and you still have hate in your heart, oh, honey, that's not about me. That's about you. And that's not a flex on my part. That's just math. Because who the fuck wouldn't feel safe around somebody who's confident and compassionate unless that person is reflecting their own dysfunction and their own lack back at them? I can only offend you with my abundance if you're steeped in lack. So yeah, guys, by the end of that conversation, and I can't wait for you to see, it was such a good conversation. Both men and I were actually trying to compassionately explain to the women their traumas. Because I think so many of us are used to women telling men what's going on with them. I looked at us and said, women, like, I love women. I'm not a girl's girl, because that term is often used to silence women from having their own thoughts. So I'm not gonna call myself a girl's girl, but anybody who knows me knows how heavy I fuck with Black people and how hard I cape for Black women and all women, to be perfectly honest, right? And so to have these two men saying Blue has a point, and me trying to explain to their wives their blind spots as another woman, and at the end of the day, us all saying nobody was shamed. It wasn't me and the guys versus the girls. Nobody was shamed. We're just pointing out blind spots and showing that women can be held accountable. That type of shit is powerful, which is why you're going to see in this compilation that I made. Oh, I have a little bit of a headache. I'm going to take a nap after. No, I'm going to sleep after this. This video compilation starts with a man who is reasonable and compassionate and can treat women with the respect that we all deserve. And it's going to end with a man. There's going to be tons of women talking in the middle. Tons of women talking in the middle. But Cecil is so infuriating. I felt like having the bookmarks of two men, one gay and one straight. So you could have one man, MJ, representing your good Judy, and the other man representing the men that you know and might even want to date someday. I wanted us to have a reminder in the middle of all the fuck shit that this is not an assault on men. It's an assault on these kind of men specifically. And other good men agree with us, ladies. Good men are as annoyed by fuck niggas as good women are. The gender wars algorithm doesn't want you to think that, because then you can't get money from rage bait. But it is true. As somebody who knows lots of good men, they agree with us. And they talk big shit about the other dudes too. Just want to point that out. So this is not going to be Cecil is every Black man, and we're going to be up in here talking crazy about every man that ever breathed. But we will be talking shit about these niggas, because they deserve it. Yeah? All right, let's continue. I just wanted to do that course correction because a lot of the conversations that I've seen about Simone and Cecil have turned into gender wars, and it cheapens it because some of the things that Cecil does, I know women who do it. So it's just like, most things are gender neutral except for misogyny. So I do bring up gender when the problem is misogyny, because gender is the whole point. But outside of misogyny, we tend to gender things a little bit too heavy-handedly. This is about 8 shit men very specifically. I do want to point that out.
I'm not saying he's going to do nothing to hurt you, but what I am saying is that he will allow you to perish.
Yeah.
As long as his lifestyle and what he gets from you is not interrupted. Dr. Simone, Get away from him.
Okay, so this entire scene with Dr. Simone, Cecil, and their sons.
Those of you who don't know the show, the 40% who watch the show because you love the community, but you don't watch none of these fucking shows. So I want to make sure that we don't lose you. That's someone in the middle. The young man who looks like a light-skinned version of her, same mouth, teeth, eyes. It's literally Simone dipped in a little bit of bleaching cream with her wig snatched off. The one who looks the most like her is her biggest op. The one who looks the most like her is her biggest fucking op. That has to hurt. If I was to have a daughter or a son who was an asshole and they had my face, I'd be so mad. I'd be so fucking mad. I will tell you this, though. Ladies, stop marrying men and hoping that you'll raise boys who are better than them. If you don't want your son to turn out like him, maybe don't have a child with him. This thing that I keep seeing of you marrying men or laying down with men to have children with men who you know ain't shit, but then be surprised when you raise your husband's child. Who do you think that little boy is looking at as a role model, whether he says it to you or not? When I am dating men, I ask myself, would I want my son to be raised by him? If the answer is no, you need to put your dick away. A lot of y'all's boyfriends and fuck buddies suddenly don't make no sense just based on that one metric. If I would not be proud to have a son who acts like you, maybe I shouldn't be dating you either. Yeah? Just saying. So for me, because this is a cautionary tale, we're going to be using Simone as a way to pinpoint all the places where we can learn from her mistakes without dehumanizing her. Yeah? She met him in college, and so her frontal lobe wasn't even fucking fully congealed by then. She was a baby marrying an even bigger baby, and she grew up and he didn't, which is unfortunate.
Was so infuriating to watch. And I shouldn't be surprised that her son, particularly this one right here, turned out to be such an entitled brat. Because Cecil behaves exactly the same way. The fact that Cecil was sitting there while her son, this one right here, is speaking to his mother in such a rude way. First it was, so, you know, you got me a Jeep and that's cool, but, you know, we need to get something else. That's how you asked your mother for.
You guys, the argument that we're about to talk about that triggered so many millions of people who don't even watch the show started because this little man who looks like her without her wig, he said he wanted a new car because his Jeep was no longer trendy. The Jeep that she had been paying the payments off and had completely paid off. Most people who are being financially responsible recognize that when a car is paid off, that's the holy grail. That means you're now driving a free car. All you have to do is maintenance. His mother gets into a place where his car is completely paid off, and his response is, this is not trendy enough. Give me something else. You got money.
For a new car. Or when she's about to explain the budgeting and get her iPad, and he says, first, before you go get your iPad.
Keeks, who are you talking about? Y'all do backbends and play Twister to blame women for other people's actions. What's the context for that? It looks like I missed something. Not y'all call him a little gremlin. Keep it respectful.
You know, ask yourself if what you're going to tell me is going to make me want to throw your food out and give it to the dog. And what does Cecil say? Nothing. You noticed the whole time when her son was talking, he never mentioned his dad. He was like, well, you know, you make so much money, Mom, and you should be paying. Cecil has been a kept man.
Guys, that part broke my heart when she pointed out that he didn't have no money. And he said, but you do. My mother has money. Not my parents. My mother has money. And his father was sitting right next to them the entire time. I don't believe in calling men pussies and bitches unless it's egregious and unavoidable. Cecil, you a bad bitch, and that's the problem. Cecil, you are a male baddie. And this young lady cracked a joke about how he's dressed like something from the early 2000s or like he raided Chris Brown's closet. It occurred to me when she made that joke, Cecil still dresses like who he was when his wife picked him up and made him somebody. In his mind, that was the last time he had power. And so him dressing like he did when they were in college, I think he's stuck there. In his mind, he wants to think that he's still that nigga who pulled the med student rather than her kept husband. Unfortunate.
For the longest. I know he used to work in IT, and then he got laid off, and then he started working in real estate. All I know about Cecil is that he dresses like he raided Chris Brown's closet in 2008. Like, he dresses like at least 25 years younger than the way he should be dressing.
And guess how long they've been married? He dresses like who he was when they met. And for the person who said he never had power, I agree, but here's the thing. There are a lot of men in this world who have delusions of grandeur and don't realize how small they are until they meet a woman who's big. Ask me how I know. There are men in this world who are living in a delusional bubble, and the minute they meet a woman who they think is their equal, and then on their own, because ladies, we rarely agree. We be like, I love him. That's my man. Oh my God, I'm a Build-A-Bear. When a man realizes that the woman that he thinks is his equal is actually his superior, there are no words for the shock, awe, and resentment that comes as a result of that. So yes, he had no power, but until he met Simone, I believe he thought he did.
Because she gave these two boys, who are actually men, they are like in their 20s, everything, they don't appreciate anything. They don't even appreciate the fact that this one right here, ran up the credit card to $60,000. Who do you think is paying that off? I'm pretty sure it's Dr. Simone.
Now, I have not started this season of Married to Medicine because I just don't feel like it yet. But I just saw this clip of Dr. Simone with them kids and their husband. Baby, let me see about how them folks will come home. It won't be nothing in that house, including me. You done said that you just don't even care if I die from working hard at my age, like at Dr. Simone's age. She's not old, but she's not a spring chicken. And she should be working towards retirement. Mm-hmm. And she is supporting 3 grown men, basically. And her son has not made good on the first investment to his education. I don't think either of her sons have made good on her initial investment in their education. And one of them is now asking for more money to go to law school. His argument is, well, white kids, da-da-da-da. Hey, bad faith argument, number 1.
Yeah.
Okay? Bad faith argument, number 1.
White kids, his blatant desire to compete with white people because his mother is rich and therefore he shares space with a lot of white people makes me so sad, because as a Black woman who does not plan to be broke ever again if I can help it, I don't give a fuck how much money I make. My kids are going to be out there, right? I'm not saying you have to be on the front lines dodging bullets at protests, but I do think that if we say that we want Black excellence and generational wealth, wealth isn't just money. Wealth is also knowledge. And I think that if you are financially rich, but your children are culturally deprived and don't understand the beauty of their Blackness, you have failed them. Generational wealth is not just money. It is knowledge. What you look like being rich with a stupid ass kid who has no sense of understanding or appreciation for their fucking culture. I once met a Mexican girl from Oklahoma who was Republican. And even though I'm not Mexican, the way she talked about Mexicans as a Republican, because she thought she was a token, I was like, your parents failed you. She said, what? I said, you keep talking about how you grew up poor, but you're not one of those. And she was Mexican and Native American, child. The audacity it takes to be Mexican and Native American and still be Republican and still be racist is wild, because you're who they came for first. Are you serious? Christopher Columbus came. Let me stop. So this is not even a Black thing. It's a cultural thing. I am grossed out when people are so focused on money, they think they have to whitewash away their culture. So I'm sorry. Generational wealth cannot just be financial. That is a failure. You have millions of dollars and your child is dumber than a bag of rocks and does not have a sliver of the integrity of another child who lives in the projects. That's a different kind of broke. And I still count it. Just saying. So his obsession with competing with white people and talking to his mother the way we always joke that white rich kids talk to their parents. Simone, baby, your first fail was not leaving Cecil a couple of years ago when you wanted to leave him on the show. and your castmates convinced y'all to stay together. For those who don't watch the show, a couple of years ago, Cecil was having an inappropriate, sexually charged relationship with a woman who he called his friend. Listen to the words that I'm saying. Inappropriate and sexually charged. It does not mean they fucked. Sexually charged means you are flirting and giving another woman the perception that she could fuck you. That's still cheating. Cheating is doing anything behind your partner's back then that you would never, ever be able to do in front of their face without causing smoke. If you know you couldn't do that shit behind my back, why are you trying to be funny and doing it when I'm not around? Inappropriate, sexually charged relationships with female friends. People like Icky and the fuckboys amongst us who have a bunch of female friends who all want to sleep with them because he's made them all think they could, but he's not with none of them. That's still emotional cheating, guys. So a couple of years ago, Simone tried to leave her husband. The same year, Quad, her co-star, was also leaving her husband. Two women who realized how impactful they are, how successful they are, and how deserving of real love they are, both made the brave decision on national television to leave their husbands for dishonoring them and having no interest in keeping them safe. Because I keep on saying, God, I want a man who protects me, not a man that I need to be protected from. Can we repeat that one more time for the pick-me's, the people pleasers, and the habitual mules in the back? God, send me a man who protects me, not a man that I need protection from. I'm looking to this camera right now. Me and this little juicy pimple I'm trying to ignore. If you ever see Bluecentric claim a nigga publicly, just know that he's keeping me safe because there's no other fucking way it would happen otherwise. Yes? Okay. So these two women had this brave moment. At the time, they were still cool. Quad goes forward with her divorce. Simone gets talked into taking Cecil back. Guess who is Simone's new enemy on the show? Guess who Simone just can't forgive on the show? Guess who? You just say her name and Simone is overcome with anger on the show. Quad, the bitch who was willing to do what you wouldn't. And please be clear, Simone, if you ever see this, I'm very clear why you hate that girl so much, and it has nothing to do with her personality. You hate the reflection of yourself and what you could have been that you see in her. Well, Quad thinks she all that. Quad left her nigga and you did it, and you're mad about it. Anybody who watches the show, because this girl in this clip, I think we're about to get to this part where she says, I used to like Simone. I can't figure out when I stopped liking her, when she stayed with her husband and became a hater. When Simone betrayed herself and then subconsciously started getting mad at Quad for not doing the same. That's when those of us who can smell the bullshit in the air were like, I used to fuck with you heavy. Some in the water ain't clean. Anybody who watches Married to Medicine who's wondering why Simone can forgive everybody and their mother but Quad, it's not a Scooby-Doo mystery, honey. She's talking to the man in the mirror because she wouldn't make a change. Okay? Shout out to MJ, remix. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is Simone screams at Quad because Simone is mad at herself. Simone also screams at her son because Simone is mad at herself. Ladies, if you can hear the sound of my voice, gentlemen, the LGBTQ ligga-bigga-tigga community, how you doing? I'm going to always represent y'all as well. A lot of times you think you're mad at somebody because you don't want to admit how bad you are at yourself. You knew that this was not going to be good, and you did it anyways, and now you're mad that you were right and you didn't listen to yourself. Women who betray themselves will always be an enemy and a threat to women who refuse to. Quad will never be safe in Simone's presence until Simone takes her power back from her husband and her children. Self-betrayal is the most fertile soil for haters. Just saying.
What? Those two things aren't even comparable? You don't know how much money them folks had. Your parents are rich, not wealthy. Well, your mama is rich, not wealthy. So that's a bad faith argument, okay? That's a huge investment that they made from the beginning. Not only your education, but also your housing. Pay for you a nice apartment, not on campus living. Nice apartment. While you're...
For the person who asked this question, I wonder why Quad wants Simone to stay in her marriage while she's got divorced. Cecil isn't a good man. You guys, how do I say this nicely? Can we all just admit how low the bar is for good men? A man who comes home at night and doesn't bother you, doesn't embarrass you more than once or twice every couple of years is considered a good man. The bar is in hell. The term good man is steeped in mediocrity. So, in a world full of men who are vaingloriously full of shit, men who are quietly full of shit get over. That's why Quad and the girls thought Cecil was a good man, because while Quad's husband was blatantly a piece of shit, Cecil was just playing possum and laying down and crying, saying, I don't know why Simone doesn't love me. Just because I have a female friend who I'm having an inappropriate sexually charged relationship with doesn't mean I'm a bad person. Just because, I grab her purse strings and let her pay for everything, I'm a male baddie, doesn't mean I'm a bad person. Just because I'm raising sons who are going to be bitch made because they've learned to depend on women to pay their bills because they never learned any of the skills that I didn't learn. I couldn't teach you something I didn't fucking learn myself. Right? Y'all sit around talking shit about Stedman Graham. I will say this to the day I die. Stedman Graham is an actual good man who made his own money, made his own way in life, and knows how to love a woman without competing with her. Cecil is who y'all thought Stedman was. Y'all owe Stedman a fucking apology.
In school, all they asked you to do is keep it clean. I'm about like T.I. on their early mixtape. You couldn't even pay the cable bill. Cable bill ain't for $50 damn a month. Well, back when he made that song. And her husband is siding with the son.
Yep.
Ain't y'all supposed to be a team?
No. A team means...
I mean, you asking for more. Law school ain't no joke. If you couldn't cut it, baby, you setting yourself up for failure. And can't nobody keep investing that much money into you for you to mess over. Okay? So at this point, you got to...
And for the person who says Simone is frustrated, she married Cecil and then raised more Cecils, ladies, again, please stop trying to do life with men who you wouldn't want your sons to turn out like. I cannot say this enough. Stop trying to do life with a man that you wouldn't want your son to be like when he grows up. Because statistically speaking, the probability is saying he's going to be like his daddy. Even the sons who know their daddies ain't shit eventually end up being like their daddies unless they're taught something different. How do I know? Because every first date I have where a man trauma dumps and talks about how his daddy ain't shit, I've now learned after 40 years of life, he's just giving me a blueprint of how he's about to waste my time in a couple of weeks. That's how I know. I've been on so many dates with so many men who with granular detail can tell you all of their father's failings just to turn around and do that same shit a couple of weeks later and convince themselves, nah, it's different. You're just crazy. It's different. I'm nothing like my daddy who didn't raise me. You exactly like that nigga. So when he does it to you, it's bad. But when you do it to me, I'm crazy. Got it. You got it, Chief.
Pick somebody on your own. The bank is closed. All three of them grown-ass men would come back to their house. And it wouldn't be nothing in there, including me. I wouldn't even get that man a divorce. I would just get gone. And y'all can figure it out without me.
Yep.
And I don't even know how you could do that, like from a financial or legal perspective. Do you put the house in his name and make him responsible for it? The mortgage, I don't know how you do it, but she got to get gone. She got to get away from them people. Them people going to drive her crazy. They're going to drive her to her early grave. I'm going to tell you something. People like that make me feel really good about not being partnered. I would rather live my entire life alone than be partnered with somebody like that who would drag me down, who would help my kids drag me down.
Now, I love this statement because shout out to Carlos for having such a great cast. We were talking to the cast behind the scenes before the show that's going to come out tomorrow. Please watch it. It's amazing. And one of the husbands said to me, are you married? And I did the little hem and haw. I was like, I was engaged twice, but I never made it to the altar. It's like a joke that I always say, right? And he said, so are you married? I said, no, I'm not married. And he smirked and said, I always find it interesting when unmarried people give married people advice. And without even thinking about it, 'cause I've been doing this work for a very long time. And shout out to him because he said it in a very good-natured way. It was a great question. It's a valid question. If you're not married, then how do you counsel and help so many married people? Because I had just told them minutes earlier that a new demographic that's emerged over the last 2 years is a lot of my newer clients are couples who've been married for over 20 years. I've had about a dozen married couples who've been married for over 20 years come to me in the last 2 years. And I was so taken aback by that when it happened, but also very quickly realized that I was perfectly equipped for it because I wasn't taking sides based on gender. I wasn't taking sides based on economics. I was actually just fighting for whatever was healthy and robust and psychologically safe, right? And so when he said, well, I always find it interesting when women who aren't married, or people, not women, he didn't say women, when people who aren't married give marriage advice, I just said, blurted out, well, there's a hierarchy of relationships. And by the way, guys, this is something that's going to be in my book. If you see it somewhere else, they stole it from me. I've been saying this on camera for 15 years. And many people have tried to steal it. If you see somebody say this, just know they stole it from me and you can tag me. Okay? So what I explained to him in the room was, when it comes to relationships and psychologically safe relationships, this is the hierarchy. Imagine you're at the Olympics, right? And at the Olympics, there's a podium with gold, silver, and bronze. Gold, the best case scenario for human beings who are not asexual and actually want to be partnered, because not everybody wants to be partnered, so I don't want to assume. For those of us who want to be partnered, the best case scenario is two healthy people honoring each other and growing together. That is the best case scenario. Silver, second best case scenario, is a single person honoring themselves and growing with themselves in their community. Third place, bronze. Third place is someone who is miserable or figuring it out and alone. Being single and alone is third place because whatever mess you got, at least it's contained. It's only your mess. You're not making anybody else's problem. And guess who didn't even fucking make it to the podium? Guess who's in the audience watching the rest of us on the podium? Married and coupled people, two or more, who are miserable, alone and together. And so what I explained to the room is, as a bitch who's in second place, a silver, the only person I can't counsel is the nigga in first place, gold, which is two happily healthy married couples. The only people I ask for advice are first place because I understand math. The only people who can tell me something that I don't already know and haven't already figured out is two me's. I'm only one me. If you figure out how to be me and find another you, give me advice. But yes, as the bitch in second place, I'm completely equipped to give advice to the miserable couples in the audience who didn't even make it on stage. Second place is better than fourth place. And so I looked at that man who was very good-natured and I said, so yeah, the math adds up. If I'm in second place, I can totally give somebody in fourth place advice. And this is what I love. He looked at me, he said, that was perfect. That was great. That totally makes sense. I keep telling y'all, secure people, yes, even secure men, when they pose a question that's supposed to be provocative and you have a sound, reasonable answer, they don't get defensive. They say, oh, wow, that totally makes sense. There's a level of defensiveness that a lot of women are used to when they're dealing with fragile masculine energy. And so we don't speak our truth because we're almost trying to circumvent it preemptively, right? I speak to everybody as if they like themselves. And if you don't like yourself, then reveal it. Confirm that shit for me. I'm not going to assume it. I'm not going to talk to men as if I assume all men suck and all men hate themselves and all men are fragile. I'm going to talk to every fucking body I see as if they know how deserving they are of love and compassion and respect. And let them show me if they disagree or not. It's not my fucking problem though. Right? You might hate me, like that bitch thinks she all that. I do. My question is, why don't you? Why don't you think you're all that? And why does me liking myself offend you so badly? So yes, guys, for anybody who's wondering, how is Blue Telusma a psychologically healthy, emotionally stable, financially responsible, single woman giving advice to couples? And my answer is because they're not in first place and I'm still in second. And so it makes sense. The math is mathing on this one. And maybe I should clip this up because I feel like a lot of people need to hear this. Those of you who are thriving and single in second place constantly covet those who are in the audience in fourth place, and it looks weird to me. And those of you who are miserable and lonely as fuck and wearing out your rolls and all your batteries in third place are still coveting the people who are in fourth place in the audience. The only people you need to be worried about are the people in first and second place. Everybody else is kind of in the clearance rack together at Marshall's. Not Marshall's got astray. All right, my ADHD is acting up. Let's get back to the show.
Dr. Simone has never been my favorite person.
Not y'all said yes, clip it. Fine. Confirmed. I will be clipping that part.
She was. That's a lie. At one point, she was my favorite of the Married to Medicine wives. I can't remember where she lost me, and it doesn't matter. But she doesn't deserve that.
That young man spending 60,000 Black American dollars, 60,000 Black American Simone Whitfield dollars in 1 year, $5,000 a month. What the fuck were you buying? I'll tell you what he was buying. For one, drugs. Y'all remember that conversation a couple months ago when y'all was...
Wait. Wait. Not for one, drugs. Okay, guys, the thoughts shared by these content creators are their thoughts and their thoughts alone. Their names are on the screen. Please don't direct your complaints to me. This nigga said drugs. Oh my God. Allegedly. I just work here, y'all. This is not me and I am not him, okay? Let him cook, though.
Like, you can tell when somebody's smoked out. That boy is smoked out. You can see...
Oh, weed. Oh. Yeah, weed can. Yeah. I'm so. He said drugs. I don't know why that caught me off guard so fast. That was actually really fucking funny. Allegedly. I don't know anything about that young man's drug usage. Allegedly.
It all in his face. Two, he was spending it on white women because the North, me being the North.
Wait. Okay. I didn't fully watch this clip because I was in a rush because I was in the middle of my intervention with Bridget and my sister. He said drugs and white women. Honestly, though, I'm going to let him cook.
Remember in the earlier seasons of Married to Medicine, he said he wanted a snow bunny. He said he wanted a white woman. And if you pair that with the fact that he said, what about the white kids whose families are rich? That boy want to be white. That conversation that they had at the dinner table while eating that pasta that came out of the pan that wasn't even fully open. The label was still in the goddamn pan. But that conversation they had at the dinner table really broke my heart for Simone, but it also put a lot of things into perspective. That is why Simone is so unhappy. That is why Simone is always yelling. That is why Simone is always coming at Quad, because Quad was able to escape her situation.
Yes!
Like, Quad did not allow those women to convince her to stay in a marriage that she was unhappy in. And the fact that Simone allowed them to stay in a marriage that she is clearly unhappy in is why I feel like she has so much animosity towards Quad.
Oh my God. So this is why I love, I almost wonder if my spirit guides help me pick clips. Because y'all know that I have this thing I do where unless I'm trying to make a specific point, I do my best to only watch the beginning and the very end of the clip so I can experience them with y'all. I'll be getting FOMO. Y'all be having so much fun in the fucking chat. Please like the video, guys. I really want this one in particular to get to people who are Simone. But one of the fun things about doing videos the way that I do them, because I don't have an editor to pick the clips for me, it always tickles me when I make a point that I think I'm standing on a ledge, and then I listen to the clip and the person is on the same page. I do wonder if my spirit guides are my producers until I get a real one. Yes, guys, one of the things I do want to do, maybe next year, this time next year, is that at some point I do want somebody to pick the clips for me because I love having real responses. I can't fake responses, guys. I can't do it.
At that reunion, Simone's mind was 1,000% made up. She was ready to be done. Like, the fact that that man was willing to choose his friendship with that woman over Simone should have automatically ended that goddamn marriage.
If you are in a relationship with someone who puts other people's approval above your safety, leave. I'm not going to elaborate.
That's one of the things about Married to Medicine. Like, while it is a great show, it's very entertaining. They are really like marriage. Like, you have to stay in a goddamn marriage even if you're unhappy because that's what you're supposed to do. Like, case in point, Dr. Jackie. That man publicly cheated on her, embarrassed her, and she took him back 3 episodes after he cheated.
Dr. Jackie is fat phobic. I'm not saying allegedly. I, Blue to Looseman, believe that Dr. Jackie is fat phobic. And one of the reasons why she is so mean to any woman who has any meat on her body while she herself looks however she looks. And I know she was going to call me a fat bitch, so I don't care. is because I believe that her husband probably likes women with big titties and hips and big asses. Can we talk about it, ladies? Women who are insecure and yet pretending to be superior love to look down on the very types of women that their husbands like to fuck behind their backs. The fact that this size double small woman who looked like she would fall over if her husband coughed in her direction spends so much of her time looking down on any woman with a half a titty. Anybody with a half a titty is going to be told by this doctor that something is wrong with you. That's not problematic at all, huh? I do think it is tethered to her husband. Her hating women with body parts tells me he likes a little jiggly wiggly. That is my opinion. It's not a fact, it's an opinion. Just saying.
That is because those women were convincing her that she should give him another chance. The only person that was like, oh, I don't think you should do that was Quad. Everybody else was gunning for Dr. Jackie to get back with a man that publicly fucking embarrassed her. Like, the disrespect that Simone received at that dinner table from 3 men that she takes care of was very insane to fucking watch, and like nothing about it was entertaining. Like, it was something that I didn't even want to, like, I wanted to turn it off. It was so dark and I felt so bad for her.
Boy moms create and enable their own oppressors. And you raise a boy to become a man who is entitled over your labor, entitled over your hard work, entitled over your money.
I think you can see why this first sentence made me choose this clip. Boy moms raise their own oppressors. That's all I need to see. Agreed. Give me 14 more.
Doesn't view you as an individual, but instead as someone that is there to serve them. Doesn't feel like you can tell them no or set boundaries with them. You create a monster. You create your own oppressor. And that's exactly what Dr. Simone is experiencing with her son. He spent $60,000 on her credit card in 1 month.
So it wasn't a year. It was a month. It wasn't a year. It was a month. Why does everybody keep saying it was a month? You guys, was it a year or a month? Because one person said it was a year, but I think he might have been wrong because everybody else was saying it was $60K in a month. Is that true? Oh, that makes it work. Was it a year or a month? So somebody looked it up because that matters. I'm going to wait for y'all to fact check because I have a headache.
And she just bought him a new Jeep, and now he's saying he's tired of looking at it. He wants a Tesla. He wants a new car. And if you watch in the episode, she tells him no. Like, and she's asking him, how are you going to pay for grad school? Like, I've already paid your way through undergrad. You have no loans. And he goes off on her. And there's this underlying anger, right? And the anger is coming from a place of, like, what's the word? This male anger that comes from entitlement when a woman tells
I had to go back and watch it. It was a month. Well. Boy. Kisa? A month? Like 31 days tops, because there's no months that's longer than 31 days. So let's go with the Where's my calculator? I'm not even gonna say 28 days. I'm gonna say 31 and give him as much grace as possible. $60,000 divided by 31 USD days. That's 1935. That's $1,935 a day. I'm not reading out. It can be premium weed. A month. Oh, what's my pain? Okay, that just made my migraine worse. Do I have any? Jesus, a month. I thought it was a year. It was a month. Wow.
You know, a lot of us have seen that before in different settings, but it's very interesting to see it from the perspective of the dynamic of a male son.
Okay, now y'all saying a year. Can y'all just? Articles can be wrong. I'm not going to go off of articles. I'm going to go off of who actually watched it. If there's somebody who actually watched it who said a month, I would take somebody watching it in the room saying a month over an article saying a year, because as somebody who worked in the news, all it takes is for one article to be wrong, especially in this day and age, and everybody else just repeats it. So whoever watched it, who watched it and saw that it was a year? Can somebody tell me they watched it and say it was a year? Either way, $60K is still too fucking much. I'm up here upset that I had to pay $9 an hour for a fucking painter.
To his mother. Quite literally threatened her and her food if she didn't do what he wanted. She talks about the labor that she's experiencing, how she wants to retire, she's exhausted, she's tired of working, and she needs a break, and she cannot afford to keep having to pay for everything and everyone around her. And all the men, her 2 sons and her husband, are looking at her like she got 3 heads, like she has no right to want to rest and retire.
In that moment, what I was saying.
Oh, I wanted you guys to, because one of the most brilliant strokes of genius I've ever had this year while being live was when I spent 5 hours, 46 minutes and 46 seconds, as Flo likes to remind me, doing my filibuster about how that nigga had me fucked up. And after I did that filibuster, I then had one of his victims of his lying come on the show, and we did another like 3 hours. And yet, it wasn't until I played a video of him and my Judas ex-friends just speaking for themselves, when everybody was like, Blue, I thought you were exaggerating. It's actually worse than you said. I've actually gotten that comment ad nauseum. People have come forward and confessed that they thought that I was exaggerating my story about Icky's character, that I was exaggerating my story about Jeff and Lulu and what shitty, mean girl friends they were to me, even though they convinced themselves that they were just having a good time at my expense. People confessed they thought that I was just lashing out from a place of pain until I simply just rolled the fucking tape. And suddenly, I got flooded with apologies of people saying, not only did you tell the truth, you actually downplayed it. For those who wonder why I'm so obsessed with receipts, is I tell the truth in such a graphic way. People like to convince themselves that I'm a liar, that I'm delusional, that I'm making shit up. And the minute I pull a receipt, suddenly it gets real fucking quiet. Yeah? Suddenly it gets real fucking quiet. So rather than us just talk about this young man who spent $60K in a year, I've been told now. Rather than just talk about Cecil, who's an ain't shit bad bitch from the 90s. I wanted to infuse at least 1 or 2 clips of these men, allegedly men, speaking for themselves. So all the nonverbals, all the instincts can tap into those of you who might not have clocked it otherwise, or who think that we're exaggerating because you haven't watched the show at all. Okay? I want you guys to see with your own eyes that not only are we not exaggerating, we could be saying much worse. Yeah? Somebody said, Blue, you make me think I'm autistic. We're so alike. Or is it just Virgo similarities? I'm a Taurus sun, Gemini rising, Virgo moon, Virgo stellium, triple Virgo. Yes. Honestly, half the shit that I do, I'm not sure if it's because I'm a triple Virgo, because I'm autistic. To me, that sounds redundant. I think being a triple Virgo immediately equals autistic. So, child, maybe both.
Was basically help me out. I'm not asking you to pay everything, but pay some of it. You can pay some of it. And I took.
Did you hear her? I'm not asking you to pay everything, but pay some of it. You can. I mean, say play some of it. By some of it, he means all of it. Wow. Yeah. That's a lot of Virgo, baby. My apologies. As a triple Virgo, I wouldn't wish this shit in.
What she was saying, she wasn't going to pay anything. And we've had conversations about it. And she said she will pay some of it. So we'll just chop that whole big argument up to a miscommunication. We could just leave it at.
He said we can chop up this whole argument to a miscommunication. You spend $60K on your mother's credit card and then demanded that she buy you a Tesla because your Jeep is no longer fly, even though it's completely paid off and only 6 years old. Where's the miscommunication? Is the miscommunication in the room with us? You have scholars watching the clip and saying, no, we're real clear what happened. Where's the miscommunication? Somebody said this young man is in his mid to late 20s. Sorry, his mid 20s, I think. Actually, let me look up. Can somebody do for me? I'm going to start using this as producers until I get a real one. Can y'all look up how old her son is? Because I know he's in his 20s. He's a legal adult. I know he's in his 20s. This is, you might think because he's like, that he's like a teenager because he's doing that little doofy teenager thing. This is a grown ass fucking man.
To a little baby in his feelings is what we're gonna chop it up.
And I'm also gonna get this one off just because to be funny.
Look at him smiling. I'm also gonna get this one off just to be funny. No, guys, don't guess. Tell me his real age. Tell me what his actual age is. But yeah, like he said, I'm gonna get this one off just to be funny. Do you see the shit-eating grin on his face after they just did a show where he was caught on camera disrespecting the fuck out of his mother, and he's tickled that it's made him relevant and famous? This young man has cannibalized his mother for clicks and likes and public relevance. And look at his face. Well, it's hard to see. It's just a lot of teeth. And he's tickled. He is tickled that he is trending, even though it's at his mother's expense, and even though it's because she was crying out for help because she can't afford to retire because of him. You don't care. And look, the nigga who raised him is in the other room smiling. Any man who can see his wife be in this much distress and be amused by it.
Funny. Someone commented on my post talking about, or on me and my mom. Hey, Dad, I gotta get this one off. Someone commented on my post talking about, I love.
The devil doesn't need an advocate. 22 is way too fucking. You guys, please don't do that. 22 is too old to be acting like this. I'm sorry. No, I vehemently disagree. To be this entitled and this harmful, there's no age where I'm going to say it's okay for you to be harmful, guys. He is causing harm and amused by it. There is no age. I don't care if he was 14. A 14-year-old causing harm and being amused by it would still be disgusting to me. He is amused by harm at 22 years old on a public stage. I'm sorry. No.
Love how you stood strong, Simone, which we do love. I'm not saying we don't love that. We love that. You were good there. But then she said, I paid for my daughter's undergrad and she paid for the rest. My next question would just be like, if you are going to comment that, you have.
You guys, can you guys stop saying he's only 22? He's just immature. We don't say this about women. Can y'all stop? I'm actually asking you. Can you stop? As an emotional intelligence coach, every bone in my body is deeply offended that we're talking about a Black woman who cried on camera about her 2 sons and her husband financially abusing her, and y'all keep saying that he's only 22. I find that offensive. If I missed the other part, that's great. I'm talking to everybody who said it, though. And also, maybe you guys write things in one part, because there's 1,172 people in here. If you're writing things in more than one part, then you have to take the L on that, right? But I'm saying that, like, anybody who is only that age, why do we keep acting like men being harmful to women is a rite of passage? So at what age is it stop being cute for men to abuse women in their lives, including their mothers? Y'all let me know. How old does a man have to be for you to take it seriously when he's causing harm to a woman? Y'all let me know.
Million. Like if we gonna play the compare game, do you have $1 million? I'm just curious.
The only thing that I'm going to say to you, Michael, is that at this age, at this time in my life, I do not have a fully funded retirement account.
No, for sure.
And if I were not helping to support you and your brother, you all are doing your part now. You're doing your part now. But if I didn't have any children to help support through anything, do you understand that I could go ahead and go home now? Now, I might have to put down Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Dior. I might have to stop shopping. However, I could live comfortably and not have to work at all.
If what?
If I weren't still helping to support you and your brother.
And your father. That was Grace. I could retire if I was not still supporting you, your brother, and your third brother, i.e. my husband.
Simone, everybody is talking about how the sons are lazy, but I'm more worried about the sons' potential for violence. Because listen to this clip.
Make sure whatever you bring out on that iPad is not going to cause me to pick up your pasta off your plate.
Make sure whatever's happening over there is not going to cause me to pick up the pasta off your plate and do what?
And feed it to the dogs.
Yeah.
You're telling the sole breadwinner in the entire house full of men that she needs to watch her mouth and not piss you off and not do anything that's going to piss you off, or you're going to reprimand her by taking her food and feeding it to the dog. Y'all saw what happened to Rob Reiner. I'm not going to make this too dark, but when Oprah did the special about family members who have decided to go no contact because of abusive family dynamics that they've gotten tired of normalizing, because part of people getting therapy is people realizing that they're in abusive relationships with their family. When children stood up to talk about going no contact with their parents, people understood. The minute a mother talked about going no contact with her son, you could literally feel the compassion seep out of the room. And she called it out. And she went on to explain, the young lady who was, well, not young lady, the mother in the room went on to explain that her son was financially abusive and physically abusive, and that for her own safety, she had to go no contact with her son. I know Simone's never going to go no contact with her son. And yet, she ironically is a perfect case for why that happens. Your child threatened to physically, your man child, your son opened his mouth and warned you, you better not be doing anything to piss me off before I take your pasta off your plate and feed it to the dog. And
I have an ex like that. Every time the parent don't give them what they want, they can't drive the car or whatever, they're damn near flip the table, throw stuff on the floor, scream, yell, threaten the mama, and all type of stuff. I feel like that's the same type of person that particular son is, because what do you mean make sure that what you say is not going to make me take your food and feed it to the dog? And then she did like a little nervous chuckle, like, this is more than just a lazy child. Like, I would hate for my daughter to marry somebody like that, because I could just imagine him not getting his way, what he would do and say behind closed doors when nobody is watching. That's just my thoughts. I could be wrong. I leave room for error, but I just, it's something about him. And that statement he made just made me kind of, ugh.
And for those who are saying they're triggered, I completely understand that, because the fact that this all happened a while ago, because, they pre-taped the episodes months, if not a year in advance. And even in retrospect, even with the backlash, this young man is still smiling and giddy about it and flexing. That to me is more troubling than the clip itself.
When Married to Medicine first started, Cecil was perfectly fine with being the husband that he appeared to be on television. He had no issues with looking like.
For the person who said this, there was a video that I was going to add to the clip, that this was getting too long, of someone saying that if Simone had female children, women children, she knows for a fact that she would have been able to retire by now, because she would have expected her female children to go to med school and become a mini-me of her. And that her having sons is the reason why she's not going to retire, because the pick-me within her, right? The part of her that's been socialized to be male-centered, even her own boys, is kind of made her the architect of her own demise. And I actually agree with that. If Simone had 2 daughters, they'd both have PhDs running their own practice, and the mother would be lying with her feet up talking about, my daughters have retired me. I 100% believe that.
The one who is being taken care of. He had no issues with looking like the one who was a stay-at-home. He had no issues. Now, fast forward years later, we're now at, season 1 million. And it's starting to become more apparent that Cecil doesn't have the input that we would have hoped that he would have in the marriage with the kids, with his wife. It's not looking good. Watching that conversation at the table with their 2 boys, and him chiming in to say, like, well, when they graduate and, then they'll be able to retire. What that frustration that she had was so heartbreaking to watch. It was so heartbreaking. You could literally see her soul just breaking. And his response was, it wasn't helping. I haven't ever wanted to see someone get divorced. I've never rooted for it. This could be why they're mad at Quad.
Oh, wait a minute. A second person. Okay, so this makes me feel, I love this. I really thought that the Mike Watt opinion was gonna be unpopular. Oh, I love this.
But it's just not looking happy. It's not looking happy. I'm not there. I'm not in their house, but it's not looking happy. And it's
Yeah, when he said that lady was talking big shit, but is she a millionaire? We're million. What do you mean? Why are you speaking French? Who is we?
It's not looking good.
I used to watch the reality TV when the husbands were back home, and I kind of feel I kind of, for the people who watch Bravo, I kind of feel like Camille Grammer tonight.
Now, for those who don't know who Camille Grammer is, I need to explain to you the level of bad bitch bullshit that this man is attempting to put on his wife right now, because he's the bad bitch in the equation for anybody who's confused or just came to this live. Camille Grammer, on the first season of her franchise, I think it was Beverly Hills, she came on the show and was, going on dinners with the girls, taping episodes, doing scenes, going shopping, all the things that the Beverly Hills housewives do. And she later would confess on camera that the entire time that she was on that show, Camille Grammer would later find out her husband was preparing to divorce her. And that he basically invited her to be on the show to give her something to keep her busy as he took his energy elsewhere. And so for this man to look at this woman who's devoted 20 plus years of her life to him and say, I feel like Camille Grammer, number one, you're identifying as a woman. Bad bitches like to link up. And for him to say that, what he's insinuating is, I feel like you set me up the way Kelsey Grammer set up his wife to abuse your power and put me on this show and keep me busy so that you could prepare yourself to leave me. Yes, so the person who said Kelsey Grammer is a cruel man. And the fact that Kelsey Grammer is a cruel man, but y'all still watch Girlfriends, is why you will never be able to guilt me about watching the Diddy documentary just because the EP was 50 Cent. Keep that same energy. Every time you watch Girlfriends, it flashes on the screen, executive produced by Kelsey Grammer. If you can watch Kelsey Grammer's name pop on the screen dozens upon dozens of times on Girlfriends because you recognize an EP is not the storyteller, they're just the person who makes sure that it crosses the finish line, miss me on trying to convince me not to watch a documentary directed by a Black woman just because a problematic man is EPing it. That's 90% of fucking films. Sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. I meant that shit, right? And so for him to invoke the name of a man like Kelsey Grammer in relation to his wife, after smiling as his son continues to disrespect and disregard her feelings. Cecil, I know what you are. You are a crusty turd. I would have to drink water just to shit you out. You are a crusty turd of a man. And I pray to God that even though she's holding space with you on this live, because her affinity for her entitled son has completely compromised her logic, I hope that late at night when she closes her eyes, the voice of her ancestors say, leave. I hope the spirit of Harriet Tubman uses Andy Cohen as the 20-something rendition of the Underground Railroad and gives her a story arc to leave your ass. I don't pray on the demise of relationships. I do pray on the end of abuse and suffering. And this is emotional and financial abuse, even though you dress like you still in the yard at Howard, hoping to pick up a baddie. Whole time you were the baddie all along. Cecil, may love like yours never find me. May a love like yours always lose my address. And Simone, how about you spend less time talking shit about Quad and more time taking notes about how to leave a man? Successfully, not half leave on a reunion and then get pulled back because of peer pressure, but completely leave. Is Quad perfect? No, but at least you know how to leave. You have that degree that you like to talk about all the time. You have that practice that is flourishing, and yet you can't find an exit sign? Come on, baby girl.
Watching the show. And for the people that watch Bravo will know what I'm talking about. But
I watch a lot of Bravo, and I watch Camille Grammer on Housewives of Beverly Hills. Explain what you mean by saying you feel like Camille Grammer.
Mm-hmm.
Where Kelsey Grammer basically put her on the show because he was going to get a divorce.
And so you felt like this season you were on the show
tonight,
so that I could get a divorce.
He felt like watching that.
Do you see that when the father is talking down and throwing digs at the wife, the son is quiet because he respects his father. But the minute the mother asks a valid, reasonable question, the son jumps up to defend his father. What did I say? Bad bitches love to travel in packs. That man compared your mother to a white woman, which you probably like because you like white women, right, Michael? That man compared your mother to compared himself to a white woman. Even worse. Your daddy compared himself to a disempowered white woman who got publicly embarrassed. You guys, when I tell you that toxic black men and toxic white women are bosom buddies and constantly fighting for second place, do you see what I mean? Do you see how a toxic black man is nothing but a Karen with a dick?
Episode tonight.
Watching the episode tonight and watching what happens live,
he imagines
it's like, oh, I can see how Camille Grammer felt.
Yes, I felt.
And I don't think. I mean, if I were on and I was saying the same thing, when I had the interview with Carlos King, if I had got on there and said the same stuff that you were saying, you would be hurt.
I said, Carlos, you know that they name dropped you during their live? And he was like, uh-huh. What, if you were on Carlos King telling the truth, she would be hurt by the truth. And so your answer isn't to make a better truth. It's to stop telling the truth. Is that your premise, Cecil? You're saying that if you were on Carlos King telling the truth, your wife would get mad. And so she should stop telling the truth. Oh, bon Dieu. Look, I'll tell you right now, I've dated toxic men. I don't think I've ever dated a dumb man. Cecil might be a little dumb. Even the toxic niggas that I date are some kind of smart until it gets to emotional stuff and then they become psychological idiots, right? But in some, Cecil, you know how else Cecil's like a white woman since he wants to compare himself to a rich white woman? I find that very telling. So the black man had a moment to take accountability and instead chose to hyper-identify with the white woman. You know what white women do? Like Cecil, per his own comparison, white women like to go to college so that they can end up marrying a rich doctor. White women like to go to college so they can snag a rich doctor and let their degree collect dust while spoiling their children. So Cecil, your over identification with Camille Grammer, you're more like her than you think, my friend.
And I think you'd have to admit that.
But what wasn't said with breaking the fourth wall was so irrelevant anyway. And Cecil, to act like that I've never said at all off camera this season about the fact that we were having difficulties. It was getting difficult for me to deal with those difficulties. Mm-hmm. It's exhausting that you can never see my point of view when dealing with the boys. You throw me under the bus with the boys. You disrespect me when it comes to...
I don't think that is saying...
Nigga, why are you talking? Your name is not Cecil, and that's not the face you have. You are Simone without a wig. Why are you talking? And Cecil, why are you letting your son talk? I'm so happy I'm not one of those women who decided that marrying any nigga was better than being empowered on my own. I'm so happy that I'm not one of those women who waited until I found a good man to get me a nice house and follow my dreams. I'm so happy I'm the kind of woman who has taken my power back. Because, Simone, you're down bad. You have millions of dollars, as your son likes to tell us frequently, as if they are his millions. And no part of me would trade places with you. For those who say, money can buy happiness because, 99% of my problems are based on money. Not a single one of these problems is about money, guys. Not a single one of these problems can be fixed with more money. Y'all love to argue with me when I say that money can't buy happiness. It just buys you the freedom to figure out what makes you happy. Y'all get mad. No, money buys happiness. Simone has more money than most people in this fucking chat, and none of us with any sense would switch places with her. So which one is it? Can money buy you happiness? If so, can somebody tell Simone where that store is? This lady is rich and famous. Two words that I rarely see together because let's be fucking honest, half of your fave celebrities are poor and broke and asking people like me, working class creatives, to cover their tabs when we go to dinner. Rich and famous are not the same thing. Yeah? I make more money than a lot of famous people, and I don't even make that much. I don't even make that much, so it's not even a flex. This woman is rich and famous, and is still the most miserable person that I've seen all week. So again, to those of you who say money can buy happiness, show me where the happy is that she can buy. Show it to me. I'll wait. Y'all love to argue with me, and then when shit like this happens, suddenly it's quiet. Okay.
And I don't think Dad's saying that he...
Well, Camille Grammer was caught completely off base when Kelsey wanted to divorce her.
Fair. He was just saying, he was really just...
And he's basically comparing himself to Camille Grammer, and I think it's weird. I think it's weird to come on with that analogy.
What basically he's saying is that watching the show tonight, it basically felt like a... What's that called when they put someone on top of the stage and a roast? He basically felt like he was watching the show and getting roasted, basically. That's
So, like, for example...
Why do you keep speaking on behalf of your father? What is going on? And see, so why are you letting your... Money can buy protection. It's not protection on its own, though. In fact, people get murdered if they have too much money and don't know how to use discernment. So that's not even always true either. Money buys you freedom and clarity if you choose to use it for that. A lot of people use money as a smokescreen. It can buy you protection, but money alone is not protection. If I was walking through the hood with a Gucci purse, you think my money feels like protection? Or do you think my money makes me a mark? I'm going to tell y'all something right now. The minute my money got better, the first emotion I had to deal with was guilt. When you are making good money and your friends who you love and adore are broke, there are no words for the guilt that you feel when you want to tell them about your day, but you feel funny sharing. Gia, please delete anybody, block anybody who's saying "girl, shut the fuck up" or anything of that sort. I think we've shown enough grace. Please start blocking people who are disrespectful. They already see what kind of space we're cultivating. You don't have to tell them that water is wet. Yes, money is a tool. Not everybody knows how to use a tool. I suck at using a drill. I don't care how much money you spend on a drill. If you hand it to me, ain't shit about to happen. Money reveals who you were all along. Your homegirl who got some money or lost some weight or got a man and is now a bitch, she was always a bitch. She was just too fat and lonely and broke to show it. She was always a bitch. Facsimiles of power reveal who you are and pull off the mask. They don't change you. They don't change you. You were that all along. You just didn't have the luxury of letting it out. I have spent weeks talking about my new house. What's the first thing I always mention? My friends, my sisters, where they're going to stay, how we're going to build community together. The money just made me more of who the fuck I was when I was broke. No part of me changed. Come on, guys. I know we're in economically hard times. And we spent all of yesterday's live. If you didn't watch yesterday's live, please do. It was really great. We spent all of yesterday's live talking about the housing crisis and how luxury apartments are a scam. And we had a really cathartic, slightly triggering, but really, really fun conversation about money. I'm not going to say money can't take away your problems. Money can take away problems. What I'm saying is it can't bring you happiness. Big difference. Words mean things. Right? Guys, I'm going to look in the thing. If I keep on seeing hate speech, I'm just going to start blocking everybody who is being hateful and then end the live early. Yes, it does add extra problems. All right, let's keep watching and keep it cute before you just never get to see me again in here.
Saying that we don't have a roast in real life is weird because again,
You didn't say, but Mama, see, but
I'm not saying
I'm
that.
not
All
saying-
I'm saying though is this, though, Simone. The only thing I'm saying is this. When I do wrong, when I'm not doing something that you feel is off, I think it's fair for you to speak on it. I think you're giving your opinion, and I think that is totally fine. Where I have an issue though is that when you speak on and make a comment that, oh, I've been married 29 years, he's not going to do anything. That gave.
but I didn't say that. That is how you
change.
took
You
that.
didn't say?
You didn't say
Yeah,
that.
you said
No,
nothing's going to change. I've been married
I
29
talked
years.
about what he's talking about are my conversations about Contessa and Scott. And how you start the marriage is how it's going to be. So if you never expected gifts, if you never expected birthday gifts, girl, you're not getting them now.
So I'll ask.
I never.
They're having this conversation in front of their two sons on live in front of millions of strangers. By the way, feel bad for her and also recognize that she's a bully to other women who are more free than her. So it's complicated. Simone is a huge hater. Her and Dr. Jackie are huge haters who look down on women who exhibit the freedom that they lack. So I feel bad for her, and I'm also going to say that she's a victim of her own fucking hubris simultaneously. What she's getting from him, she does to other women. So it's complicated. And that's the thing that makes it tricky with women like this. They tend to be so browbeaten by their men, but then talk crazy to women who are braver than them. Guys, what do I always say in here? Cowards love to judge the brave. Cowards love to judge the brave. If I had a penny for every time a bitch made coward, gender neutral, who wouldn't know the truth if it bit them in the ass, who secretly hates themselves and therefore cannot figure out why the fat bitch likes herself, therefore can't figure out why the older woman thinks she's deserving of love even though I'm younger than her. They can't figure out, pull in whatever inferiority they think that I possess that has not stopped me from being poppin'. It's tricky because number one, you hate yourself and that makes me sad. And number two, bitch, you got me fucked up though, right? It's tricky. So the humanitarian in me feels bad that she has co-signed to be a part of this mess. And the brave bitch in me is like, this is exactly the kind of person who will talk shit about me. So I can only feel bad for you, but so far.
Saying that you didn't throw me a party or you don't you've done amazing for my birthday. And maybe it could be that just my speaking and you're already in your feelings about this episode you are taking it in just based on everything I'm saying. But I do believe how you start is how you finish. And you
oh, thank you. You saying that as I'm staring at my pimple is ironic, but thank you. By the way, guys, let's hope that 3 days of me being off from work, because I haven't had 3 days off since I went to London in June. London was the last time I had a day off. Let's hope 3 days off makes me relax enough for my stress pimple to go away. Pray.
Well, first off,
before me was not new to my marriage.
Well, first off, let me say this. I think that statement is a statement that people say often in relationships.
Do you see how he's not listening to learn? He's only listening to rebut. He's acting as if they're in high school or college in debate club trying to see who can have the best gotcha, rather than listening to the fact that his wife feels unheard and unsafe in his presence and the presence of the sons that he's helped raise improperly. I'm going to tell you right now, if someone is vulnerable with you, and your first response is to rebut and make a point like a tennis match, rather than simply acknowledge their feelings, doesn't mean you don't get to say your point later, but without first acknowledging their feelings, in that moment, you have confirmed that you are unsafe. There's no safety without acknowledgement. There's no safety without acknowledgement. We're all having a visceral reaction to watching this woman begging for her man to stand up and be a partner. And all he hears is, what about this point? Yeah, everybody says that, but complete strangers are showing your wife more compassion than you are. Even strangers like me who are not a fan of hers. I hate the way this woman acts on the show. Cannot stand it. I think she's full of displaced anger and rage because she has not gotten the help that she needs, because she sees herself as a victim and a martyr, and that she's created the mess that she's complaining about. And yet even I can have compassion for her in this moment. And yet the man who is benefiting from all her riches and is only relevant because of his proximity to her can't even do that. It's bullshit, y'all.
But you're not, in relationships, you're not training anyone. You're not going to shape anyone. People are who they are, and people change in relationships. People start off one way
and some people never change in relationships.
Some do and some don't. But if they change, it negates the point that you made. And the point is that someone can change. And all I'm asking the people that are on here, the 450 people on there, when you made the comment, did you take that comment to mean that Cecil ain't doing shit for Simone? I'm asking the people, not how you felt.
Right, but
did he just say, when you said that to the 460 people on here, your wife told you how she felt, and your response is to be concerned about the audience. Wow, Cecil, you're a bigger failure as a husband than I thought. I'm stunned. I actually gave you too much credit.
Why are you more, but Cecil, this is what I'm asking you, babe, before I get in my car and head home. Why are you more concerned about what the people think than what was my actual intent?
Not me and Simone agreeing. I'm not sure that's, wow. Look at Cecil healing the world. Well, logic is logic, right?
Well, but I'm not clear on what your intent was. Was your intent on Scott?
These people you don't know ain't paying nary $1 bill in your house.
Yeah, I'm not concerned.
You are concerned. You are concerned. You're asking the people what they think.
Well, but again,
we are
on a live. If you just like, come on,
let me do. Hold on.
Hold on, Mike. Ganging up on your wife with your son when she pays all y'all bills is crazy work.
Ask the people what they think about the parenting that happened at that table.
Is he screaming at her? You know when a black person laughs because they're feeling violent and they're trying to calm themselves down. Let me just let this shit play out.
Ask the people that.
Hey, everyone's argued or had a disagreement with their mother. One, what our disagreement about happens to be different because that's going to pertain to our family. One.
Is he preaching now? Is the dumbest person on the live trying to preach and go over bullet points?
One. Two, we happen to be on a reality TV show for you all to watch and feel obligated to give your opinion. And
we had a real moment on national.
Yeah, and that was a genuine, and something me and my mom talked about. After that moment, me and my mom probably didn't talk for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That was a genuine argument that we had hadn't had before. And it happens. That's life. That's our family. I love my mom. We were just in New York having a blast.
She took you and watch what happened live so you could be on TV. You're saying you were having a blast because she put you on. So can you enjoy your mother and say you love her when it's not transactional? Is that even a possibility? I've never seen it. I would like to see it.
Me and her, we're just in New York having a blast. In case y'all are wondering, I don't drive a Jeep anymore. I drive a Tesla. So, bow.
He just gave the audience a middle finger because the argument was about him winning a Tesla. And now he's primping and preening and flexing that he finessed her into giving it to him anyways. I'm going to fast forward. I don't want to watch the rest of this live. Can't. Let me fast forward to the next person. Yeah, I don't want to hear anything else that Simone has to say. That, I do feel like my blood pressure just raised from watching that. That was nasty. That was... Somebody said Blue do the dogs. You know what? I should do the dogs. Let me find, for those of you who are new here, we have a evil eye repellent. These are our dogs that we play when we need to clear the energy. Let's clear the energy, guys, because that was fucking disgusting. Now tell me again why healthy, happy, thriving single woman can't tell miserable married people anything. Explain to me again why we're not, because nothing in my life is remotely that disgusting. Guys, let's take a vote. Do we want to watch the last two? Actually, no, we're not going to take a vote. There's going to be a clip of a woman talking about the one time we all saw Simone happy. And then there's going to be a clip of a black man giving his opinion. I told you I wanted this to be black men talking to and about other black men so y'all wouldn't turn this into a hen party, right? And like, oh my God, women sitting around on Blue's lives talking about how much they hate men. No, we're not. We hate fuck shit. And other men hate fuck shit too if they're good men. So let's watch these last two clips and then we are going to pivot to something more positive. Y'all can guess what it is.
About 10 years ago when she was at her wit's end with living with her husband and her sons, and she went out and got her own house, and they had the East and West house. That is when she radiated joy. She would get off work, stop and get her something to eat, or have a girl dinner, relax after work, take a bubble bath, and not have to come home to a house full of entitled men who were draining her energy. When she moved into her own house, she realized that she wanted to divorce Cecil, but she allowed the other women to gaslight her and to guilt her into believing that that's not what she wanted.
Yep.
And they convinced her to move back in and to make her marriage work. And she has been miserable ever since. And looking at the clips from this episode, you can see how those men are literally draining the life energy out of her. I used to think Cecil was a good guy, but the wiser I became and the older I became and the more experienced I became, I realized that Cecil does not like her, and he's what you call a passive user.
Yep.
And ain't nothing worse than a passive man, because he has a good personality. People think he's nice. People think he's kind, but he's a user. All three of those grown men are using her. And her sons have sat back and watched how their dad has taken the back seat and being passive and not taking the lead, and they all feel entitled to her money, her finances, her resources, her energy, her time, just everything. You can literally see the life being drained out of Simone.
Okay, first off, I gotta say this: I don't watch Married to Medicine. I don't know the characters. I don't know the.
So you guys, not only are we ending this segment with a straight black man, we're ending it with a straight black man who does not even watch the show and therefore does not have favorites, has zero allegiances, and with a completely clear perspective is just going to tell us as a man what he's seen from these very graphic clips about what's going on in this relationship. And I thought it was going to be really impactful to have this kind of person end this segment before we go on to the next one, because it goes to show that this is not about, oh, it's a reality show and we all have favorites and y'all just caping for Simone. No. We started this live by saying good men are just as annoyed by fuck niggas as good women are. And this is going to prove the point. And this is a longer clip, but I'm actually going to let the whole thing play, because this one I did watch. Every time I wanted to stop watching it, he kept on saying something else that I agreed with.
Their storylines, I don't know if, what I did see, because I saw a clip that pissed me off. I don't know if that's on brand. I don't know if them niggas be doing that every day, every night, every week, whatever it is. But first thing is this, and I hate to, I don't usually do this, but as a man,
Ooh.
As a man, bro, how do you first of all, the daddy, why you letting them little niggas talk to their mama like that? Talk to your wife like that? Why are you letting this? He said, I'm gonna throw your shit on the ground or feed it to the dog. Slap the shit out of that little boy. I swear to God, bro, that shit pissed me off. But it's like at the same time, first of all, ain't no father in the home. Ain't no father in the home. I'ma just say that. He there, but he ain't there. Cause he ain't fathering shit. He ain't fathering shit. He ain't teaching them shit. He ain't teaching them a damn thing, bro. He ain't teaching them how to be respectful to women. He ain't teaching them how to get money. He ain't teaching them shit. That's like the two main things as a man. Like, be respectful to women, get money, take care of the people around you. 3 things they are severely lacking in, apparently. And for him to say, for the little boy, I'm gonna call him that, the little boy, for him to say, yeah, the Jeep, it just ain't cool no more. It ain't cool no more. First of all, do it get you from A to B? You got in an accident, it's wrecked, you can't drive it no more, it's not drivable. If it ain't one of those things, you better get your ass in that car and go wherever you need to go, bruh. Talking about
Amen.
Jeeps just aren't cool anymore. They're just not cool.
Jeeps aren't cool to whom? Who are they uncool to?
It's a shame. It's really a shame. It's really a shame. And like that's what I said. I don't even like to, as a man, some shit, cause I'm by no means a macho this or I ain't none of that. But it's like minimal shit, bro. How do you? And then see, it's just literally barely 2-minute clip I saw. This shit, I've been thinking about this shit all day. Barely 2 minutes of that. That's why I said I don't know these people. I don't know if this is what they be on. But someone need to save my sis, bro. Someone need to save her. What I don't even know. Dr. Simone, I think was the name. Dr. something. I know she a doctor. And then how's she the only one with a degree in the house? What is the dad doing?
Now, usually I don't use degrees as a way to show people have value, because you can be without a degree and be incredibly valuable and brilliant and industrious. I do think it's suspicious, though, that she met this man at college where he was pursuing a degree and then he had access to higher education and has done absolutely nothing with it. It's given bait and switch. If I meet a nigga in college, suddenly him, even if he has a degree, him not using it matters. I met you in college. What you mean I'm the only person with a real job? We met in school with the premise being that we would be equals because we're both at college together. What he does to this day is he's a house husband / realtor. The same way yesterday we were like luxury apartment. Cecil is a realtor the same way those houses we saw in yesterday's live were luxury apartments. Yes, Cecil is a luxury apartment, guys. Oh my God, that totally tracks.
Obviously, she the breadwinner, which I ain't got no problem with that. But if it was me and my wife was a breadwinner, nigga, you ain't talking to her no kind of way but respectful.
Did you hear what he said? Even if I was a new age man who did not need to subscribe to the traditional values of men being the breadwinner, if I was in that relationship and my wife was the breadwinner and that was our dynamic, that would give me more incentive to protect her and show her respect, not less. Do you see how all these simple points that we make that horrible men pretend are too complicated, good men come to on their own without us even having to say anything, because it's obvious and logical and therefore accessible to any decent, logical person who's open to it? I'm just saying.
Around me. Right? Oh my God. Hold on. Let me take my glasses off. Like, how's a father in the home but ain't no father in the home?
Oops, say it again.
How is it a father in the home but ain't no father in the home?
One more time.
How is it a father in the home but ain't no father in the home? That shit piss.
Someone says the skin that Cecil set up. And yes, he does look like Ludacris, but he actually seems like he has more EQ than what I've heard Ludacris has. So shout out to him for that.
Piss me off so like that, and this why I don't even be this might go a little left. Okay. But for one, I'm not even gonna comment on the women and what.
You guys, I only saw it up until him saying father in the home 3 times. So this part is gonna be new to me. Please don't fuck it up. Oh God. I didn't have time to finish the last of this clip. Please don't. He's doing so well. Let's see if he can stick the landing. Can he land the plane? Can he stick the landing? Let's see, y'all. Fingers crossed for baby Ludacris.
She dealing with what she need to do. Like, that ain't my business. It ain't my place. Even though she do need to leave. She do need to leave. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna leave it at that. Mm-hmm. But as a man, you're begging your mom for a new car, and you ain't even go, you need me to clean up or something? Like, you need me to, and you want a new car? And you already got a car? Oh, what our white?
By the way, being a single mom while being married is a hellscape. That is a hellscape.
Friends, they just, you trying to be a white man? White mediocrity is what you aspire to.
Ooh!
How's a father in the home but ain't no father in the home?
Okay, he's landing the plane.
Teaching him shit.
He's really landing the plane. I'm pleasantly surprised by the end because I was a little nervous.
Whatever he teaching them, it ain't worth a damn.
Uh-huh.
It's a shame. Like, when people say black men are the weakest link, Exhibit A, right there.
Ooh! Y'all see that I didn't say it. It came out his mouth. I ain't say shit. I just work here. Straight black man who's not sassy, doesn't even watch a bunch of these shows, and he on the outside walking by. Okay. Just gonna keep playing.
Exhibit A. Cause how and what are they in college? I don't even know what the little boy is he in college, he in high school, whatever. Don't know how to get money. Don't even know how to ask for money nice. That's the problem. You don't even know how to ask for money nicely. All right, I'm done.
That was amazing. Oh, I'm so happy I ended with his video. That was amazing. Oh my God. Doesn't it feel, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binaries amongst us, doesn't it feel good to just be reminded every once in a while that cis, hetero, black men who make sense and have good sense still exist? He's a pilot. Not only did he land the plane, she said he's the pilot. I love that. Right? People say, why do you always want to point? I need to point it out because we're living in a world where, to be perfectly honest, it would be very easy based on the algorithm and whatever's happening on social media to forget men like that even exist. And so I'm not just doing it for y'all, I'm doing it for me, right? Because I'm still waiting for my person, right? I just need one good man. The rest of y'all can kiss my ass after that. But like, I need to constantly remind myself that good black men, good straight cis hetero black men exist, because it is so easy. It is so easy to be like, God, did you not make it in that color? Did you not make it in that style? Now, I wanted to remind you that good cis hetero black men exist because we are going to be shouting out my good sis who found her a good man even though he's not black, and she was waiting for a black man. So I've told you guys this before, especially during the summer. I'm going to always root for black love. The first version of black love that I'm going to root for as a priority is black people knowing how to love each other properly, because we don't see enough of that. People on TV, even people like Shonda Rhimes, who I love, swear to God that black people can't love each other and be happy. Like, why does it always have to be a mix and match? I'm not against interracial relationships. I'm against them being highlighted in lieu of black on black love. You know that you can have an interracial relationship and also have black people loving each other, right? Why do y'all keep acting like it's either or? Why did we skip the part? Because after you ripped the black families apart through chattel slavery and really, really fucked up racist marijuana laws in America, you split us apart. And rather than put us back together, you skipped that part and said the world can be saved by us fucking white people. You skipped the part where we get back together. So I'm going to always root for black people loving each other as the first priority, because society keeps trying to skip that part with this kumbaya. The world's going to be safe when everybody's biracial. What the fuck? Who said that? I disagree. Right? The world is full of hateful, self-loathing biracial people. So I fucking disagree. So yes, first place is black on black love, as far as black love is concerned. Second place is a black person being loved properly by whoever in the fuck is capable and able. Right? Second place is a black person, particularly a black woman, being treated well and loved properly. And if it's not a black man, well, shit, bitch, at least you found something, because goddamn it, it's slim pickings out here. Which brings us to the reason why my extra pro-black ass, because back in July and August, y'all were like, Blue, you're so pro-black. How are you a fan of this relationship? I'm a fan of this relationship because anytime a black woman is being loved properly, I'm going to clap for it. There's no deviation here in my integrity. So I know y'all saw it. I posted it on the page. If you're not following us, if you're not subscribed, if you're not a member, this is a reminder that you might want to reconsider that, read some literature on the subject. Fuck it. Because Nicolandria is on the cover of Glamour. And let's look at these, y'all. Y'all, can we just have a moment? The girl who everybody counted out, the girl whose so-called friends conspired with producers and her oppressors to keep her down, the girl that didn't give Taylor a kid feeling is now getting full multi-page spreads for the Christmas edition of Glamour. You guys, we sit around praying that we have matching pajamas. This bitch got a matching cover story. I think that's a little bit more elevated. Yeah? And what did Alandria say? They ended it with her words because here's the thing. I think Nick had something to do with this. What did we say? I want a man who protects me, not a man that I need to be protected from. Nick protects Alandria. Whether they're still together or not, I don't even care at this point. I feel like if Nick and Alandria broke up, he'd still try to be a good friend to her. Because a man who wants to protect you and who cares about you doesn't stop wanting you to be safe just because you don't belong to him. That's the part y'all be missing. A man who's only good to you when you belong to him but treats you like shit the minute you have free agency was never a good man. He just wanted to protect his property. You want a person, you were a possession, right? And so the fact that Nick treated Alandria so well after she rejected him on national television, that alone made me breathe different. He took an L in public and still kept her safe, literally and figuratively. Okay? So Alandria writes, thank God we've got each other because I don't know what we would do without each other, literally. When it comes to dealing with fame, Alandria. Last week, we talked about a couple who let the fame destroy them. Well, just destroyed him, and then she came to her senses and let him go. Let's watch this quick video clip. Hold on, let me make sure I didn't get a copyright strike, because y'all know I love to run my videos through the system to make sure that I don't get a strike. Let's see. Nope, didn't get a copyright strike, so I can play the video. This is an update about what Nick Alandria has been up to and why we intentionally haven't seen them do a lot of couples content until this cover. I speculated last week on why they were doing it, and it sounds like they've confirmed my speculation. Huh. Isn't that funny? Blue Toulousema makes an educated hypothesis that turns out to be correct. It's almost like I work here. All right.
Different things have happened these past couple of days, a lot of changes. One of the biggest ones being the fact that Nick and Olendria have finally decided to go private about their relationship, which some people might have.
By the way, I like to platform as many Black people as I can. I just realized that because this is not a TikTok, the person's name is not on it. So I want to look to see if I can find her name, because I like it when their names pop up. Who is this creator? Let me see if I can find it in my history, just so I can shout her out properly. Give me a second, guys. Actually, I'm going to play the video while I look for her to make sure I can shout out her name.
Have interpreted as maybe some trouble in paradise. But regardless of everything, the two are still together and going very strong, as Nick has just confirmed. I don't remember exactly when this was, but it was a couple of months when this person called Vicky Sue commented on Nick's post and said that Nick and Olendria would not make it through the holidays, and Nick said that he would send them a Christmas card. So months went by.
Oh, it's anonymous. It's somebody named Drama. She doesn't have her name. Oh, that's interesting. Drama, you should have your name on your stuff so we can shout you out, because that's hard to Google.
And Nick has just posted this on Snapchat, saying that he didn't forget about it and calling them out by name. Okay, Nick actually ate with this one, because not only did he just confirm to everyone that Nick Olendria is still going and strong, he also just told the haters to stop messing with him, because he will never forget. Now, apart from this, when it comes to their relationship...
Now, guys, when I posted the pictures of these pictures this morning, Kendall was like, why did you write well played on the Christmas picture? And I said, actually, I'm going to read what I said to Kendall. It's nothing private, so I'm not reading any like private message. When he said, what do you mean by well played? I wrote back, God, it's a lot of DMs. Y'all be just in my my God, it's a Jesus wept. How do I get to my actual friends? All right. He said, what do you mean? And I said, Ace went viral for claiming their relationship was fake, and their haters said they wouldn't make it to Christmas. So dropping a Christmas cover story as a couple a week after Ace's own relationship has ended. I'm not saying it was intentional. I'm just saying well played.
But both Nick and Olendria recently announced that due to all the craziness and backlash they were receiving in the public eye, they have decided to slow down on sharing couple content and going kind of private. But Olendria said that it will not be forever, giving hope that sometime in the future they will share their lives again as a couple with their fans.
Sometime in the future they will share their lives again with people outside of their friend group. I think that sometime is when the obsession with Love Island season 7 dies down, because I'm shocked that we're still talking about it. Even though I've gone weeks without talking about it, I'm shocked that it's still a topic at any point this late in the game. I'm thinking that when season 8 comes out, Nick and Olendria, if they are still together, will feel more comfortable showing up in the capacity of being mentors and advocating for a little bit more compassion and less crazy fandom. Because by then they would have been together long enough to show that it's not a fluke. They would have outlasted all the other couples. Like literally, I think they might be the only couple from the show that's together. Don't mention people fucking on different people who they never slept with on the show. That happens all the time. Different castmates who didn't say blip to each other on the show, suddenly smashing behind the scenes. I'm not going to count that shit. That's just regular reality TV stuff. But of the couples that were claimed on the show, are they not the last one standing? And mind you, I'm not using that to be comparative. I'm using that to say that there's something deeply ironic. Oh, Clark and Taylor. How ironic is it that Clark and Taylor and Nick Olendria, from what I can see, are the only couples that we saw on the show that are still together?
I also think it's like the dynamic of coming off, like, you know, I hate to say it, but like one of the bigger shows of the year. And he's so.
No, it was the biggest show of the year, Nick. You're being modest. Love Island was insufferably popular.
So many eyes on you and so many people who think that they know you, and there's like good things to it, there's bad things to it.
Yeah.
So it's definitely sometimes a lot.
Yeah.
We're good at, you know.
I was about to say, how do you guys deal with it together as a unit.
Yeah, we kind of
everything that comes with it.
It's like very collaborative. Like I think at the beginning we weren't sure like how to, every part of us was shown on that show.
Yeah.
Coming off of it, we're like, okay, we have to continue showing ourselves on the show, which is just not true. So now it's like very.
Iris circling the block doesn't count, guys. The circling the block, again, is regular reality show things. People breaking up on reality TV and then trying out other people, finding out they couldn't become famous and then fucking with each other again. That's pretty regular, actually.
Private, very like, we don't really even post because it's just a lot of that parasocial, like,
it's
hate.
a lot. Yeah.
And, you know, one way or another, people are going to be upset that we don't post enough or we post too little, or it's like, it's this or that. It's real, it's not. And it's just come to the point where it's easier to enjoy ourselves.
It's easier to enjoy it ourselves. If this is real, because, you know, TV, you always have to leave your mind open. But if this really is what they say it is, good for them. Seeing people in their 20s have discernment and not hyper fixate on posting and public fodder when they're this famous is rare, guys. It is very rare to see this level of restraint for this age demographic in this time and age. We don't see it often, and I have to call it out. Outside of their romantic relationship, there's a level of emotional intelligence in this that I remain stunned by.
Enjoy it privately and, you know, like a normal relationship. Like,
yes, as it
I
should
think
be.
we really forget sometimes that we don't have to like share as we did on the show.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have our privacy.
I know the drought has been tedious. I get it.
By the way, Olandria gives me giddy. There's something about her, even when she's chilling, where you can tell she's stunned and tickled that all her dreams came true so on the nose. She's stunned and tickled. If she and Nick were in a horrible relationship and we find out 2 years from now that this was all a lie, she should get an Oscar, because there is a piece that you can see in her that we did not see in the other couples. Interesting.
We literally warned like everybody, like probably gonna go private. It's for like better mental.
By the way, Nick said he loves it when she's ginger. So the fact that her hair is gingerish in this video while she's talking about how much they love each other in our private. I'm not just saying this because I'm a ginger right now either. I'm just saying it's interesting that he had mentioned that one of his favorite looks on her is when she has this hair color. And here she's talking about how I care about that man, but it's none of your business.
Y'all keep saying y'all get it, but then y'all do this. Like, you get it or not? I know y'all miss us. I know. It's not gonna be forever. We're not gonna be private forever. It's just like, y'all be seeing. It's just draining.
Y'all be seeing and it's draining. I'm not going to speculate. I'm just going to let that sit in the air for a second. Y'all be seeing and it's draining. Yes, Olandria, we have seen it and it is very draining.
I do agree that the parasocial hate side of it is what pushed them to, you know, go private and everything. But I also think that they did it for the sake of both of them building solid personal brands.
Yeah, Gia, the way my guy friends ride for me, it is very, very on the nose with how Nick rides for her. And I do think that them being friends first and him being her number one protector as her homeboy who thought he had no chance with her is a huge reason of why it feels so good witnessing this. Oh, any woman who's had a male friend who sincerely cared about her like a sister and did not try to fuck her or abuse her proximity to him for personal gain, any woman who's been blessed enough to experience that has a special understanding of what's so valuable about how Nick shows up for her.
Not necessarily depend on the Nicolentia name, which is a very smart thing to do. The reason I say this is because, yes, there's the couple content that they no longer share, you know, the pictures, the videos, and the lives, but when you look at it, they don't even work together like that anymore.
Did we not talk about this last week? Last week, I said how I think it's brilliant that even though Nicolandria is a huge brand and the McCarthans is a huge brand, that they've both made it a point to stay individuals so that they are not slaves to the optics of them being a couple. So many times when a couple and their branding as a couple becomes the main character and each individual person loses their own identity, it actually creates too much pressure for the unit. There's less pressure when I know that even if I retire tomorrow, you're still good. So I don't feel like I have to do something I don't want to just to make sure that you can eat. That is well above their age. So either Nick is exceptionally, why does this look like a mugshot of Nick? Either Nick is exceptionally emotionally intelligent and Alendra is exceptionally emotionally intelligent, and or they're listening to their families. I think it's a combination of both. This feels like an elder is giving good advice that is being listened to. Because this is the advice that I would give them as their big sis.
Maury, it's really been a long time since they worked together, and I don't think it is because they don't get brand deals.
For those who are mentioning I look very Venusian and whatever, because I've seen a couple of those comments, I've been working with the Pure Sweetness and Road Opener candles. And now, you know, I look sweeter and my roads are opening. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, honestly. This entire last quarter, all I've been doing is Pure Sweetness and Road Opener because I felt like I needed to just cleanse myself, and it's been working.
That need them to be together, but I just think they may be declining them and putting extra efforts in having separate personal brands. God forbid they break up, but in case it ever happens, this would just help them a lot that they have separate brands, and it would never affect any of them in their separate journeys.
I love it. What did I say? When you're just being logical, you're going to hear yourself repeated through other people because it's the obvious truth. I actually didn't watch this video. I just saw that it was a Nick Alandria video about what they've been up to and that it didn't get a copyright strike. And I was like, oh, okay, this will be cool. But like, I love that she's making this point that we talked about last week. Like, please don't lose yourself in a relationship. The best relationship, in my opinion, I'm a Gemini Venus, so I'm not in that clingy shit that some of y'all like to do. I love having a relationship with someone. I feel like me in the future is going to watch this back and be like, interesting. I love being in a relationship with someone where being around you is one of my favorite things ever. And also you give me the space to miss you while still being able to trust that I would be proud of you if I could see what you were doing in my absence. That is the holy grail. That is incredibly attractive. When I know that there's no place you'd rather be than with me, and yet you still have a life outside of me and I can have a life outside of you. And I can trust that what we're doing in each other's absence will just make us like each other even more because I can be proud of the man that you are without my supervision. I can be proud of the man you are without my supervision. The biggest thing I learned in my 30s was stop clapping for niggas who only act right when you're there to watch them. Stop. Oh, Olendra's a Gemini. That makes sense then. I'm a Gemini rising and a Gemini Venus. So I might be a Taurus, but in romantic relationships, I'm 100% Gemini. I love like a Gemini, which means you can't be stupid. I'm gonna make fun of you. Like, you can't be stupid. You have to be talented at something because Gemini energy, when it comes to love, we like stimulation. And I have to be able to wander off and come back and trust that you'll be there. And you have to be able to wander off and come back and trust that I'll be there. And there can't be no funny shit because my spidey sense will make me fall down a rabbit hole and find out the social security number of the bitch that you're cheating on me with. So let's not make this awkward, right? So it doesn't surprise me that she's a Gemini, but like, I actually already knew that, but I don't know why I forgot to mention it in this. Having a partner, astrology neutral, I think one thing that y'all can learn from Gemini energy, even though Gemini is the most hated sign, with Scorpio being a close second. One of the biggest things you can hear from anybody is, oh, I'm so happy to see you. I missed you. And I would even dare to say that a man looking you in the eyes, because I feel like there's a lot of ladies in here, and I'm going to say this is actually gendered. I make a lot of things gender neutral, but this is gendered because men hear this all the time, whether it's true or not. Women don't hear this often enough. When a man can look you in your eyes and say, I trust you, and he moves in a way that substantiates that that's true, a man who trusts you and acts like it is usually a man who's learned how to trust himself to some degree. And a man who doesn't trust himself will never, ever trust you, no matter how amazing you are. So yeah, I think what I like about these two is not the fact that they are a gorgeous couple and they have great branding and nice outfits and snatch waists. It's that I sincerely believe that they trust each other. I sincerely believe it. And that is worth 1 million fake I loves you on the gram.
Either way, I think we all just like to see them winning as both a couple or personally. And with that, let us get into more of what.
Oh my God, look at y'all see this picture? Oh my God. That's a good picture. Jesus wept. That's a good picture. Y'all know I'm a face queen. That's a good picture.
What they've been up to career-wise. First things first, something big seems to be cooking from Nicolangea, and it is coming from Glamour magazine. Glamour recently teased quote a special.
What you mean 1,000? Wait, there's 1,150 people in here, but you're saying I only got 61 likes. Y'all, come on. Can y'all hype this up and like it so other people can find me? I'm tired of being a hidden gem. There are thousands of you who come back every live but don't like. Come on, don't be a gatekeeper.
Gift this week, dropping on the 18th, and they hinted that it would be their December cover. They shared the silhouettes of the people who are going to be featured in this gift, and for some reason, people are so convinced that this is Nick and Olengia. I don't know, I can see Olengia's silhouette and see that it's really her, maybe because of her sharp cheekbones, but Nick, I don't think I really see it that well. Anyway, it's just coming out very soon. I can't wait to see what exactly is wrapped in this gift.
Confirmed, it's Nicolangelo in the Christmas cover. Oh, I love this. So she made this video, Drama. Her name is Drama. Drama made this video before, and oh, I love that. And now that's the cover that we just all saw. I kind of love that.
Otherwise, Nick's updates, well, Nick is definitely very serious when it comes to his DJing career, and he has just now released his January 2026 DJing schedule, and
500 likes is better. It's not 1150, but it's better. I appreciate
it. Looks pretty packed. He's getting the bag. Also, a few hours ago, his team just said that there is a big announcement coming that the internet is not ready for, so let us wait and see what that is about as well. Now, when it comes to Olengia,
I appreciate you for being so honest, love. I appreciate you for being honest that you need to trust yourself more. I think the first step is acknowledgement, right? What do we always say? There's no safety without acknowledgement. So you just acknowledging that is the first step.
Yeah, it's really been a lot happening, and as the title says, she's really taking over Hollywood. I don't even know where to start, but let us start with her recent Instagram stories where she just posted all her achievements, posting all the awards that she received ever since leaving the Love Island villa. Speaking of...
Wait, she got all those awards? Love Island just ended in July. Girl, it's only December. Wow. Well.
Achievements, Olengia is also one of the most influential people in 2025, making the list for Ebony's top 25 newsworthy moments that defined 2025. And that is not all, because Vanity Fair also recognized her as one of the best performances of 2025. Achievements and recognitions aside, something else big just happened as well, where she and Anokiai recently had a crossover on social media. And
really? Oh my God, look at that face. Ugh. I hope whoever convinced the world that Black women weren't gorgeous is rotting in hell. On what planet? On what? I feel like even if I was a white person, I would still feel the same way about Black women just because I have eyes. Like, this is not tribalism, it's just vision. Yeah? The fact that we spent the entire 90s being told that neither of these faces could be a main character. The fact that there are millions of Black men who are convinced that their own don't stack up.
It's just so incredible. Anokiai is one of the most iconic models in the whole world, actually considered a supermodel, and she was also named the Model of the Year 2025. So Olengia recently slid into her comment section on Instagram, and Anok was so welcoming, asking her when she's coming to visit her. Now, ever since Olengia started to get more into fashion, people have been relating her to Anokiai a lot, so this means so much for Olengia and her career to make friends like Anok, because she will definitely help her a lot in the industry. And for people hyping up Olengia for the Met Gala 2026, this is also a big step, considering that Anokiai completely shut down Met Gala 2023 when she attended, as she was one of the most discussed people in attendance. Well, speaking of Olengia meeting
You haven't seen her Met Gala dress. Oh, it was like a jumpsuit and it had crystals and it was shining against her skin. Oh, I literally just got a chill thinking about that outfit. If you have not seen Anouk's outfit, I think it's a jumper. It's blue and silvery and crystal. I gagged when I saw it.
Iconic people. She was also recently seen with LeBron James' wife, Savannah James, when they attended Rich Paul's birthday party. Olendria was also recently seen at Seth MacFarlane's private holiday party, and word in the street is his parties are one of the most exclusive A-list celebrities in the industry. This goes to show you the class in which Olendria is being considered A-list high.
She skyrocketed from most underrated, most acknowledged Islander. Like nobody but Nick was checking for her, to now being the only one who is A-list. I really, really hope that y'all soak in that miracles are possible and see it not as something to make you feel inferior, but a reminder that God is in the neighborhood, right? Whenever you see someone like Olandria or someone like your favorite celebrity or someone like your favorite relatable content creator, it doesn't have to be me, anybody, right? When you see somebody who's relatable to you, who you see a reflection of yourself in winning, please do not feel inferior. Take it as a reminder that God is in your neighborhood, right? If her, why not me too? Not why her, not me, because that's hater behavior. If her, why not me as well? God is in the neighborhood, y'all. Speaking of which, I met my neighbors. They're very nice. It's women. I cannot believe this. My two neighbors who live in houses across from me are two women. And they were very nice. And they just seem like two successful women who also saved up to get a nice house. I was like, okay. So I'm just saying, like, be in a space where you not only believe that you deserve, also be in a space where you are excited about meeting other people who remind you of yourself. When someone sees someone who reminds them of themselves and they are disgusted, they're telling on themselves. Because when I see a bitch who reminds me of me, I'm like, I love you. I think you're amazing. I wonder where that is. Then I'm like, oh, shit, I love me. That's why. Ha! I said that to a bunch of people. There are so many people that I adore. I'm like, bitch, I adore you. And then they keep talking. I'm like, oh, bitch, you just me. Oh, I love that. Get to a place where you love your reflection on other people rather than hating on it and trying to shut it down. Just saying.
Celebrity, which is a good thing, and she really deserves it because the way she moved to the whole becoming famous thing, the things she did all put her exactly where she is and the type of company she's attracting. Anyway, guys, I think today's video can end right here, and I would like to know what.
So I will say this, a shout out to Drama. I intentionally wanted to end with Olandria after talking about Simone, as just to rinse the bitter taste out of our mouths. Olandria is what, I'll say this, Simone is what happens when you fall for the propaganda that you need to center men and the optics of financial success in order to be happy. Olandria is what happens when you just want to sincerely be happy and you follow anything that makes you feel safe and seen, even if it's unfamiliar. Simone fell for a familiar demon and found herself in a trap that many of our mothers and aunties have fallen into. Olandria trusted herself enough to take the path less taken and was pleasantly surprised that there was a pot of gold at the end. What did I say in my short yesterday? I said that I don't think that anything that I have gotten, any of the blessings that I've gotten this year, and I will always look at 2025 as the year when my life turned a corner, right? I don't think any of the blessings I am now glowing thinking about would have happened had I clung to the familiar. Had I clung to the familiar nigga, the familiar friends who are low-key haters, the familiar jobs, the familiar situationships, the familiar family. I am willing to risk it all if I am unsafe and unseen. And I think that's probably been to everybody else's detriment who fucks with me, but it's probably been the thing that's kept me thriving. And so this might be my Gemini rising, Gemini Venus talking. Don't be scared to flip a table if your peace is being threatened, and walk over that table and all the broken dishes and walk towards whatever actually deserves you. Fuck the familiar. What is safe? Fuck the familiar. Even if it's Cecil, your hating ass husband of 20 plus years, what is actually safe? What is actually respectful? What actually makes you the person that you want to be? Because I'm going to tell you right now, when my friends start dating someone, I don't get concerned when the person they're dating is questionable. I get concerned when the person they're becoming, because of who they're dating, is questionable. My sister was in a relationship that had some interesting flags. And when she told me what was going on with her and her partner, I didn't judge. I said, your partner sounds like they're figuring some things out. How are you taking it? I was proud of how she was showing up, and therefore I could mind my business because she was safe. Right? As long as the people I love are in relationships where I like who they are becoming and who are they are remaining, because some relationships make you just double down on who you already are. If I like who you are in the relationship and I feel like you are equipped to keep yourself safe, you could tell me a crazy story about you and your partner and I will still hold space for you to figure it out and mind my fucking business. I only get concerned when your safety and your light is being snuffed out, right? And so for those of you who are like, oh, I have this one friend, she don't listen. Who says she has to listen to you? If she's still okay, why is your advice or your perception or your judgment being prioritized over her free agency? A lot of y'all don't know how to love like that. Everybody I know, all of my friends know, as long as you were safe, I will hold space and mind my business. If you were unsafe, that nigga better run from me. And all their partners know this as well. All right. I love y'all. This live went much longer than I expected. I thought it was going to be only 2 hours. It ended up being 3.5. Why does this keep happening? I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like the live. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you haven't become a member, please. I don't ask for much, right? But I really want to get to 1,000 members because something about that number feels magical to me. Until next time, actually, fuck until next time. I'm not coming back on live until Monday because I need 72 hours of rest. Love y'all so much. Please. Oh, and the phrase, because y'all know I love the replay phrases, particularly tomorrow when I'm on the flight, because I like to read your replays when I'm on long flights. I want the replay comment to be, in a world full of Simones, choose to be Olandria. In a world full of Simones, choose to be Olandria, but judge neither. Okay? All right, I'm going to go now. Well, that message is going to make me happy. All right, love y'all, family. Bye.